After the divorce, my luck skyrocketed. At 30, Chen Feng, who was diagnosed with a terminal illness, experienced a turnaround after his divorce. He won a lottery, found romance, and eventually even recovered from his illness. What's going on? Chen Feng, now blessed with luck, is feeling a bit overwhelmed. Minghu Park. The shimmering lake reflected the blue sky and white clouds. It was a rare nice day, yet Chen Feng's mood sank to the bottom of the lake. The diagnosis in his hand was crumpled into a ball, but he hadn't thrown it away. At just 29, he didn't want to die, but fate had played a cruel joke on him: terminal brain cancer. He remembered the doctor's sympathetic gaze, gently advising him to eat, drink, and relax. Chen Feng forced a bitter smile, gazing up at the sky just in time to see a shooting star streak by, fleeting. Another hallucination, he chuckled to himself. He had been suffering from headaches, nausea, and delusions. Today, he had taken leave to check it out and received this result. Just then, his phone rang. His wife, Shenlin. "What's up?" he asked, his tone flat. "There's a company dinner tonight." "I won't be home for dinner," she replied in her melodious voice, which contradicted her tough demeanor. "Oh. What's wrong?" "Nothing. By the way, didn't you always want a divorce?" "I agree." "What?" "I said I agree to the divorce. I've thought it through. Clinging to you is pointless." "Did you hear something?" Surprised, Chen Feng coldly replied, "Yes, I did." "So let's part ways amicably." "You don't trust me anymore?" she asked, her tone growing cold. "It's not about trust, it's unnecessary. We've stopped loving each other. Think about it. How much time have we spent together these past few months? How many meals have we shared? How many times have we been intimate?" Chen Feng questioned, his emotions rising. "Yes. I might really not love you anymore. You're no longer that vibrant Chen Feng. Now you're just a bitter, complacent middle-aged man." Rage boiled in him, but he sighed instead. Why complain about fate when he's facing death? He had come to terms with it. "Do as you wish. Take a leave, and I'll gather my documents to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau." After a pause, she asked, "Have you thought this through? I can give you 2 more months. If you change some bad habits, maybe we can." "No need," he interrupted firmly. "Let us divorce. There's no point in forcing a relationship devoid of feelings. We have no kids or assets. I'll let you go find happiness. A woman like you won't lack for suitors." "Fine. I'll take a leave now." 2 hours later, they stood at the Civil Affairs Bureau, each holding a divorce certificate. Shenlin gave him 2 days to move out of their shared home, an apartment rented by Chen Feng's parents for their marriage. It had been paid for 3 years upfront, and they had lived there for almost 2 years. Since it was near her workplace, Chen Feng felt it was a small compensation. He chose to leave their almost 2-year home, leaving all appliances and furniture behind. After all, with his impending death, he wouldn't need those things. They had once loved each other, and Shenlin had almost quarreled with her parents over marrying him, who had no money or house. He always felt guilty about that. This divorce was also a way to make amends. After all, a divorced woman sounds better than a widow. He didn't want to be a burden to her. Chen Feng walked home, planning to find a cheaper place tomorrow. After half an hour, a sudden gust of wind blew leaves from the sycamore trees. Plastic bags and dust swirled towards him. Instinctively shielding his eyes, he caught a glimpse of a piece of paper blowing onto his hand. It turned out to be a scratched lottery ticket with a car symbol on it. Surprised, Chen Feng realized this ticket was likely a winning one. After some inner conflict, he decided to wait by the roadside in case someone came looking for it. After waiting for over half an hour without anyone asking, he went to the nearest restroom. Following the ticket's information, he found a local lottery shop he had visited before. Inside, many people were buying scratch cards, but few had won big. Chen Feng bought 2 for 20 yuan. To his astonishment, he won 1,530 yuan on the first and 2,000 yuan on the second. The others in the shop looked on with envy. "Your luck is unbelievable," someone exclaimed. "Yeah. I spent 2,000 and barely won anything. Bro, let me buy some, you scratch, and we split the winnings." As he had only wanted to see if anyone claimed the ticket, winning felt surreal, like a twist of fate. He had played for years but had only ever won 20 yuan. Having not played in months, he bought 2 tickets and struck gold. Where was the fairness in that? Chapter 2, Encountering a Beauty. Ignoring the envious glances from fellow lottery players, Chen Feng cashed in his winnings and left. He decided to wait a day before claiming the winning lottery ticket for the car. If there was still no news by tomorrow, he would redeem it himself. That night, he packed his belongings, ready to move out the next day. Shenlin didn't return home. The next morning, Chen Feng visited the lottery shop. The place was empty except for the owner. Have there been any big winners recently? He casually asked. The owner, recognizing him, smiled and said, "You're the biggest winner here lately, over 3,000 from just 2 tickets yesterday." Chen Feng nodded, bought 2 more tickets for 20 yuan, and left without scratching them. He intended to find a new place nearby, as he had lived in the area for almost 2 years. Luck was on his side when he passed a dumpling shop, bought some meat buns and milk, and inquired about single rooms for rent. The shop owner happily provided a landlord's phone number. While enjoying his buns, he called the landlord, who happened to be nearby. After a short walk, they met at the breakfast shop. The landlord had a good impression of Chen Feng and promptly took him to see a rental unit. It was just 2 streets away, in an old neighborhood, over 20 years old but still in decent shape. The apartment was on the ground floor, about 50 square meters, with basic renovations: 1 living room, 1 bathroom, and 1 bedroom, plus a small outdoor space. The rent was 800 yuan per month, with a 1-month deposit and 3 months' rent upfront. Chen Feng agreed to a 1-year lease and handed over 10,000 yuan, which the landlord accepted without hesitation. They quickly signed the contract, bypassing any agency fees. Chen Feng felt somewhat guilty about the rent, thinking about how he might die in this room one day, and contemplated leaving the landlord some money as compensation when the time came. Always considerate of others, he realized his life had been filled with concerns and unhappiness. After settling into his new place, he took a taxi to move his belongings. After organizing a bit, he headed out to the street where he found the winning lottery ticket, but no one was looking for it. He visited the lottery shop again, but there were no reports of lost tickets. By noon, after lunch and more wandering, it seemed this winning ticket was meant for him. He decided to claim his prize at the lottery center and smoothly received a Bic Envision worth over 200,000 yuan, a model he had long wanted. Yet, as he drove away, his heart felt heavy because of his impending death. Driving aimlessly through the bustling city, he eventually found himself on a straight road leading out of town. After some time, he turned onto a side road, revealing lush green fields, golden rice paddies, and grazing cattle, a vibrant pastoral scene that lifted his spirits. After driving a bit further, he noticed traffic thinning out and decided to stop for some fresh air and a stretch. Lost in thought, he didn't realize 2 hours had passed. Suddenly, he spotted a mini parked by the roadside, with a beautiful woman in her early 20s waving at him. Pulling up next to her, he rolled down the window. "What's up?" he asked. "Could I borrow your phone?" "My car broke down, and my phone is dead," she replied, bending down to meet his gaze. She was indeed stunning, with a sweet voice. "Sure. Let me pull over," he said, moving his car to the side. He quickly handed her his phone. His caution was relaxed. The desolate surroundings made him feel safe, and besides, he felt bolder about doing good deeds. Thank you," she said, taking the phone and hurriedly dialing her friend. After a brief conversation, she returned the phone. "Thank you so much. I'll treat you to a meal sometime." "No need," he replied, ready to leave, but she called out, "Can you wait a moment? My friend is on their way. I really appreciate it." She clasped her hands in a pleading gesture. Chen Feng, initially just wanting to enjoy the scenery, decided to stay. "Okay, I'll stick around for a bit," he said. "Thanks, you're really kind," she responded, relieved. Looking around at the picturesque landscape, he took a sip of bottled water and admired the scenery. October's golden fields were nearing harvest, with water buffalo grazing lazily and a flock of goats munching grass nearby. Watching the goats made him a bit hungry. "Are you a local?" the girl suddenly asked, approaching him. Chen Feng shook his head. "Nope. I'm Wu Mengting." "What's your last name?" she asked, attempting to get closer. "Chen," he replied, deciding not to share more. "What brings a girl like you out here?" With a shy smile, she said, "I'm here to take photos of the countryside. But then my car broke down," and my phone died. She turned to him again, grateful. If I hadn't met you, I would have been in trouble. It's quite a distance to the main road, and I hadn't seen anyone for half an hour. I was worried about running into bad people. Weren't you scared I was a bad person? Chen Feng asked curiously. Wu Mengting laughed lightly. You clearly aren't a bad guy. You have a trustworthy look. Plus, that car looks new, it must be worth a lot. Generally, people who can afford a car like that aren't up to no good. Chen Feng found her logic amusing. Yet, he couldn't deny her keen observation. He did appear friendly and trustworthy. Chapter 3, This Luck. The two chatted casually by the roadside. Wu Mengting shared quite a bit about herself. She had just graduated with her master's degree last year and now worked as an editor for a magazine. She was from Lucia, which surprised Chen Feng since they were fellow townspeople, though she was from the city area, while he was from a county nearby. They communicated in their hometown dialect, which had some differences in accent but was mostly understandable. This common ground brought them closer together, and Wu Mengting seemed more relaxed. Chen Feng felt a bit of joy too. He hadn't been back home in over a year and hadn't encountered anyone from his hometown in the provincial capital of Suzhou. To his delight, he randomly met a fellow townsman, and a beautiful woman at that, which lifted his spirits. Chen Feng decided to open up a bit more, sharing his name and some of his background, though he omitted the details about his divorce. He simply mentioned that his new car was a prize from a scratch-off lottery ticket. Initially, Wu Mengting didn't believe him, but when he pulled out the redemption ticket from the car, she finally accepted it. Your luck is incredible, she said, envy evident on her face. Chen Feng chuckled, maybe I was just really unlucky before. Perhaps heaven took pity on me. What happened that you were so unlucky? Wu Mengting asked curiously. After a moment's thought, knowing they wouldn't meet again after today, he replied, I just got divorced yesterday and found out I have a terminal illness. Wu Mengting's jaw dropped, and after a long pause, she shook her head in disbelief. That's impossible. You look perfectly fine. How could someone like you have a terminal illness? Chen Feng smiled but didn't show any documentation. Believe what you want. He had only mentioned it as a way to relieve some internal pressure. Keeping such a secret bottled up was suffocating. Speaking it out loud, regardless of whether she believed it, was a relief. They were merely strangers, and he didn't need her sympathy. It's not that I don't believe you, it's just so unbelievable. Besides, if you really had a terminal illness, shouldn't you be in a hospital? If it's terminal, what's the point of being in a hospital? Seeing him relaxed yet serious made Wu Mengting start to believe him. She fell silent, unsure of what to say next. Chen Feng took out his phone to snap some photos of the lovely scenery nearby. Before long, a polo pulled up. Wu Mengting's friend arrived, another stunning woman, taller than Wu Mengting, at least 1.7 meters. She looked slightly older, in her mid-20s, and was dressed stylishly. They introduced themselves politely. Her name was Lin Wan. After some brief pleasantries, a tow truck arrived. Wu Mengting got into Lin Wan's car, and they drove off together. Chen Feng, however, didn't rush to leave. He intended to wait for the owner of the flock of white goats nearby, planning to buy one to take home for dinner. Doctors advised him to enjoy life, so if he wanted lamb, he'd get one. After just a few minutes of waiting, an elderly farmer appeared with a whip to herd the goats. Chen Feng hurriedly called out, Sir, are the goats for sale? Of course, they were for sale. The farmer was straightforward and didn't overcharge. Chen Feng bought a goat for 1,500 yuan, and the farmer even referred him to a nearby slaughterhouse. After tying the goat's legs and putting it in the trunk, Chen Feng drove to the slaughterhouse just a few kilometers away, where the roads were well paved and easy to navigate. For 100 yuan, the goat was slaughtered while Chen Feng watched. He had seen pigs being slaughtered as a child, so it didn't bother him. Then, as the slaughter worker was cleaning the organs, a yellowish lump fell out, rolling toward Chen Feng. Curious, he bent down and picked it up. It was a yellow stone. Is this goat bile? The slaughter worker exclaimed. Chen Feng hadn't thought of it until then, but it hit him, this was goat gallstone. Just like cattle, goats could have gallstones, and compared to cow bile, goat bile was rarer. He wasn't sure of the exact price of goat bile, but he knew that natural cow bile could fetch astronomical prices over 10,000 yuan per gram. He quickly searched on his phone and found that a few years ago, a farmer sold a 62-gram piece of natural cow bile for 3.12 million yuan. Prices had only gone up since then. The piece of goat bile in his hand weighed at least 200 to 300 grams. His luck was simply unbelievable. At that moment, several people from the slaughterhouse gathered around, staring at Chen Feng with envy, shock, and greed. The slaughter worker, especially, looked at him with red eyes. If it weren't for the people around, Chen Feng would have suspected that the worker might try to rob him, especially with the knife in his hand. "I'll give you a red envelope later," Chen Feng said calmly, nodding toward the slaughter worker as he nonchalantly stuffed the bile into his pocket. "That goat bile must be worth over 1 million. You'd better not skimp on the red envelope." The slaughter worker replied, his tone filled with jealousy and indignation. He had slaughtered hundreds of animals over the years and had only seen goat bile once before. Chen Feng, on the other hand, happened to buy a goat to eat and ended up with goat bile. Had it not fallen out, he might have kept it for himself. Chen Feng just smiled and said nothing. It was customary to give a red envelope, but how much was his choice, not the slaughter worker's. The onlookers wanted Chen Feng to show them the goat bile, but he simply shook his head with a smile. Though they were dissatisfied, they couldn't say anything. After all, they didn't know each other, and the goat bile was Chen Feng's, so he had no obligation to show it off. The slaughter worker, feeling aggrieved, quickly processed the goat, packed it in a bag, and tossed it at Chen Feng's feet. Then he demanded, "Boss, how about 88,000 for the red envelope?" "Just 88,000 will do." Chen Feng chuckled and dialed a number on his phone. "Is this 110? I'd like to report that someone is demanding a red envelope with a knife in hand at Li Hong Slaughterhouse, address, 134XX Road, XX Village. I'll be waiting for you." The slaughter worker froze for a moment, shocked by Chen Feng's actions. Once Chen Feng finished the call, the worker's face turned pale as he shouted, "When did I demand a red envelope? Don't wrongfully accuse me." Others rushed to defend him. "Boss, he found the goat bile, which must be worth over 100,000. Asking for 88,000 for the red envelope isn't unreasonable. Old Kui, how about just asking for 58,000? Boss, it's such a celebratory occasion. Reporting it just seems pointless." Chen Feng remained unyielding, his expression serious. "The goat is mine. I paid for it to be slaughtered, and the bile that came from it is also mine. He has no claim to it. A red envelope is a gesture not giving one doesn't obligate me. Why should I give him 88,000? Maybe I should just give him the goat bile instead. I'll wait for the police." The would-be mediators stepped back, not wanting to get involved in any legal issues. One person raised his hands and said, "This has nothing to do with me. Don't wrongfully accuse anyone. I'm leaving you handle your own affairs." As he left, the others quickly dispersed as well. Only the slaughter worker and Chen Feng were left staring at each other. Ultimately, the slaughter worker relented, sighing, "You're too stingy. With this being worth over 1 million, is it too much to ask for a few thousand in red envelopes? Let us wait for the police. I despise being threatened." "I'm not threatening you." "You are." "I'm not." "Fine. I'll go wait in my car. I don't want to waste any more breath on you." Chen Feng said this as he picked up the bag containing the processed goat, turned, and walked toward the exit. The slaughter worker instinctively followed him, watching as Chen Feng placed the bag in his trunk, closed it, got into the driver's seat, started the car, and drove off, just like that. After standing in front of the slaughterhouse for a long time, the worker finally shouted angrily, "What an ungrateful person." Chapter 4, I Don't Believe It. The slaughter worker asked for an 88,000 yuan red envelope, but in the end, he received not a single cent. After driving away, Chen Feng didn't report it. He had actually called 114 for earlier. With his impending death, he didn't want to waste time on such trivial disputes. The journey home was smooth, and in less than an hour, he returned to his rented room. He took out the piece of sheep gallstone, washed it in the bathroom, and weighed it in his hand. It seemed to weigh around 250 grams. Even at a price of 10,000 yuan per gram, this gallstone was worth 2.5 million. However, the current market value was likely higher. After some online research, he found news articles about sheep gallstones. 2 years ago, a 320-gram gallstone had sold for 8.9 million yuan at auction, meaning the price was roughly over 20,000 per gram. Given inflation and rising prices in traditional Chinese medicine, he figured he'd ask a herbal medicine shop about it the next day. But for now, it was getting late, and he had a freshly slaughtered lamb to eat. He opened the bag and placed the whole lamb in the kitchen. Chen Feng then retrieved an electric cooker, pressure cooker, cutting board, knives, and seasonings all bought on his way back. In the kitchen, he started cooking. He chopped the lamb into pieces, added seasonings, and let it simmer. While it cooked, he returned to the car for rice and a rice cooker. In less than half an hour, the lamb was ready, filling the room with a delicious aroma. After tasting it, he found it even better than the market lamb. He ate heartily, finishing a big bowl of stew and rice. Despite his terminal condition, his appetite was still strong, and he hadn't lost any weight. Since a year ago, he'd gained weight, now weighing about 170 pounds, a clear sign of being overweight. Being able to eat is a blessing, he thought, especially considering his short time left. After finishing his meal and storing the remaining stew for later, he realized it was only a little after 6. With no TV and his computer still at his old place, he felt bored. He decided to take a walk to digest. As he stepped outside, he noticed a digital store across the street hosting a lottery event, bustling with activity. He needed a high-end laptop, so he went to check it out. Inside, he saw a crowd gathered around the counter, watching as a woman opened red envelopes hanging from colorful balloons. One man pointed out a prize, and the store owner revealed it was a set of Bluetooth headphones. Chen Feng realized that spending over 2,000 yuan in the store gave you a chance to win one of those envelopes, with prizes ranging from USB drives to laptops worth over 10,000 yuan. Intrigued, Chen Feng thought he might buy a phone first. His current phone, a gift from his ex-wife, was outdated. Considering his newfound wealth from the gallstone, he chose the latest model, which cost over 5,000 yuan. After purchasing the phone, he was given 2 chances to draw envelopes. With a good chance of winning something substantial, he eagerly picked 2 from the front. Since his luck had seemingly turned since the divorce, he was hopeful for more good fortune. The store owner opened the first envelope, revealing several cash bills, 800 yuan in total. The crowd gasped with envy, especially a frustrated middle-aged man who lamented that he had chosen another envelope instead. The owner, surprised by the cash, realized she didn't know there were cash envelopes. They must have been put there by her husband. Chen Feng, momentarily stunned, felt that his luck was surreal. Encouraged by the crowd, the owner opened the second envelope. Upon seeing the note inside, she froze. "What prize is it? Hurry and show us," someone urged. The owner hesitated, but eventually revealed a handwritten note stating that the prize was a laptop, complete with anti-counterfeit numbers. Everyone was astonished, realizing the envelope had somehow been returned after she had already picked it up. Chapter 5, Good Luck continues. Wow! The crowd of onlookers at the digital store erupted in excitement. It's really a laptop. The grand prize. Holy crap! This luck is insane. This is the top of the line War God series laptop, worth 15,000. Bro, your luck is unmatched. Winning 2 grand prizes in a row. The spectators were filled with envy. At that moment, Chen Feng was in shock. He never believed he could be this lucky, but reality was that he was indeed on a lucky streak. What was going on? His mind was filled with questions. "Hey man, go claim your prize," someone kindly reminded him. Chen Feng snapped back to reality and nodded to the smiling store owner. "Thank you, Maram." The owner was feeling quite annoyed. It was a 15,000 yuan high-end laptop, and she really didn't want to part with it. But with so many people around, she knew she couldn't back out, nor could she substitute it with a lower-end laptop. After all, the model was clearly stated on the notice board. Reluctantly, she retrieved the laptop and placed it on the counter. The crowd gathered around to see, and even more people came in from outside, drawn by the commotion. Suppressing her regret, the owner powered it on and began detailing the laptop's specifications, using the opportunity to advertise her store. She also announced that the next day they would have another laptop up for grabs, in case someone else got lucky. With such a promotion, everyone believed it. After all, someone had already won a high-end smartphone, and now someone had won the grand prize laptop. Previously, there were doubts about whether the laptop was real, but now Chen Feng had proven it. And it was clear that Chen Feng was not a plant. The store owner's earlier unwillingness was too genuine to be faked. If so, she could win an Oscar for her acting. So, many people planned to come back the next day to try their luck again. However, they would clearly be disappointed. The owner, having learned her lesson, decided not to put any more laptop prize slips in the envelopes, ensuring no one would win again. If it weren't for the chance of a mistake, she wouldn't have put the grand prize envelope in at all, let alone display it. Chen Feng, oblivious to the owner's thoughts, listened as she continued her lengthy explanation. Finally, she issued him a receipt, and amidst the envious gazes of the crowd, he left the store with his new laptop. Once outside, Chen Feng couldn't help but marvel at his luck. It felt surreal. In just 2 days, he had experienced more good fortune than in the previous 20 years. Who would believe it if he told them? Of course, this streak of good luck felt somewhat late for him. After all, he could die at any moment. The doctor hadn't specified how much longer he had, but Chen Feng had searched online and discovered that late-stage brain tumors typically meant only 2 to 3 months left. So, for someone with only 2 or 3 months to live, good fortune was meaningless unless it could extend his life. But now that he wasn't short on cash, Chen Feng decided to enjoy himself. He first returned to his rental to drop off the laptop and then drove to the nearest arcade. He had loved video games in middle school, but as he grew older, he found he had neither the time nor the opportunity to play. However, he had always wanted to spend time at an arcade. Now that he was close to death, it was time to fulfill that wish. He exchanged for 100 game tokens and headed straight for the claw machine. Claw machines were popular games many loved to play, yet very few succeeded in winning a toy. It wasn't so much about skill, but rather luck. Most arcade claw machines are rigged, making it difficult to win easily. Otherwise, the arcade would lose money. Of course, to attract customers, some businesses might intentionally lower the difficulty, allowing for easier wins, but such occurrences are rare. Chen Feng just wanted to have fun, not necessarily win. He randomly chose a claw machine and dropped in a couple of tokens, starting to play haphazardly. He didn't win on the first try. The second try also failed. On the third try, he pressed buttons wildly and surprisingly managed to grab a cute teddy bear. Staring at the plush toy that dropped out, Chen Feng was momentarily stunned, wondering if his luck was indeed carrying over to this as well. Could he have luck in this too? Encouraged, he continued, no luck on the fourth try, but on the fifth, he snagged a monkey, on the sixth, a rooster. Out of 10 attempts, he managed to win 5 stuffed toys. Clearly, this wasn't a reflection of Chen Feng's skill, but of luck. He recalled the last time he played a claw machine was over 2 years ago while dating Shenlin at the mall. Otherwise, he hadn't touched one since high school. Wow, you're amazing. Can you teach me? While Chen Feng was lost in thought, a young girl of about 15 or 16 suddenly spoke up, looking at him with admiration and envy. Aside from her, several young people had gathered around, all with similar expressions of admiration. Chen Feng was impressive, especially towards the end when he consistently won. Oh, I really don't have any tricks. I'm just lucky. You're lying, the girl replied, slightly annoyed. I often come here to play, but I rarely win. Yet you just grabbed so many in a row. You must be hiding something. This kid. Chen Feng thought, are today's young girls really so rude? I swear I'm not lying. I'm done playing, do you want these? I'll give them all to you. Not wanting to argue with the girl, he handed over the 5 toys he had won. Really? Thank you. You're the best. The girl was ecstatic, not hesitating to grab the stuffed toys, struggling to carry all 5 at once. Meanwhile, Chen Feng had already walked away, casually heading to a coin pusher machine. This thing is essentially a gambling machine, watching coins on the edge that might drop at any moment. But it's not really that straightforward. Many people have been burned by it, with some even losing everything due to obsession. Chen Feng wanted to test his luck again to see how far it could go, so he casually dropped in coins, tossing in more than a dozen without any reaction. Chen Feng wasn't surprised and kept at it, inserting another dozen. Just as he wondered if his luck had run out, suddenly, he heard a loud clatter as the stack of coins toppled over, spilling down. Chapter 6, The World is Not Worth It. The stack of coins collapsed with a loud clatter, immediately drawing the attention of many people nearby. The little girl holding 5 stuffed toys rushed over to Chen Feng's side, her face filled with admiration and envy. Uncle, you're amazing. You won so many at once. This coin pusher is hard to win from. I've been playing here for months and haven't seen anyone win on this machine. Can you teach me how to win? I promise not to tell anyone. The girl was really friendly. Chen Feng ignored her and squatted down to gather the fallen coins into a plastic box. This time, he had won over 3,000 coins, which was equivalent to over 3,000 yuan based on a 1-to-1 exchange rate. The crowd watching was filled with envy. Although these game tokens are not supposed to be exchanged for cash, many people privately buy them. Sure enough, someone nearby leaned in and whispered, "Hey boss, are you selling those tokens? I'll take them for 2,000. Get lost." He is not selling. Before Chen Feng could respond, the little girl angrily chased the person away. The man glanced at her but said nothing more and turned to leave. "Uncle, don't sell those tokens for cheap. If you really want to sell them to me. I'll make sure you don't lose out." Chen Feng couldn't help but look at the girl, thinking she seemed unexpectedly wealthy. He replied, "I'm not selling. I'm just here to have fun, not to make money." "You're really a pro, uncle." The girl continued to flatter him. Chen Feng kept filling the game tokens into the plastic box. One wasn't enough, so he ended up using 3. The 3 boxes stacked together were heavy, and he could only carry them with both hands. Next, he didn't play any more gambling-style machines but instead went for racing and shooting games. After a few rounds, he hadn't spent too many tokens. Then he tried the dance machine. He had never played one before, as he wasn't a good dancer and lacked a sense of rhythm. But since he was about to die, he thought trying something new couldn't hurt. As expected, luck didn't help with the dance machine. Without rhythm or music sense, he quickly lost. Many people around saw Chen Feng clumsily flailing about and burst into laughter, especially a few younger kids who laughed the loudest. Chen Feng remained calm. "Hey! Didn't you all play like this at first? What's so funny?" It was the same little girl again, stepping up to support him. This time she had somehow managed to get a big plastic bag, stuffing the stuffed toys inside, one hand holding it. "Uncle, let me help you. I'm a great dancer," she said, offering to dance together. Chen Feng nodded, "Sure, I'll cover the tokens." "Great." The girl beamed. They inserted the coins, and the duo began dancing. However, within half a minute, they were done. "Uncle, loosen up a bit," the girl said like a teacher. "If you're going to dance, you have to be fearless. Don't be afraid of embarrassing yourself. The more you dance, the better and more confident you'll get." Chen Feng chuckled, "You're right. Let's go for another round." "Hey, uncle, we're waiting for our turn," a young guy nearby complained. "Go away, let us be." The girl confidently reached into Chen Feng's box of tokens, grabbing a handful and handing them to the young man. His face lit up, and with his friends, he happily left. "Uncle, you don't mind, right?" Turning back, the girl stuck out her tongue at Chen Feng and asked. "I don't mind. I have plenty of tokens and didn't plan to take them all home. Go ahead and spend a little." Though she seemed rude, after this interaction, she turned out to be quite nice. "You're really generous, uncle. I'll call you my friend. Now let's start dancing." The girl diligently guided Chen Feng on the dance machine. During their time, several groups of people came to take their turn, but she sent them away. Chen Feng took it seriously. Plus, with his thick skin, after a few more rounds, his skills improved significantly. He soon found himself getting hooked, and the girl felt a great sense of accomplishment. They dominated the dance machine for over 2 hours. Both were exhausted, their feet aching, and decided to take a break. Next, the girl led Chen Feng to try other games. She was really familiar with the arcade. After playing a few rounds, Chen Feng felt it was a blast, and the girl was smiling the whole time, likely because she wasn't spending her own money. When the arcade announced it was closing, they finally wrapped up their gaming session and walked toward the exit together. "Uncle, are you coming back to play tomorrow night?" the girl asked hopefully. Chen Feng shook his head, "No. I might not come back again." He had only 2 or 3 months left and didn't want to waste too much time at the arcade. Enjoying one night of fun was enough. He had many other things to do. "Why not? You seem to have fun tonight. Why not keep playing?" The girl sounded a bit disappointed and upset. "I have other things to take care of. And you two aren't in middle school. Shouldn't you be studying instead of hanging out at the arcade all the time? Chen Feng hadn't intended to say that, but having spent several hours together, he couldn't help but speak up. I don't need your advice on studying. The girl immediately switched to a hostile tone, acting like a brat. Chen Feng shook his head, not wanting to argue with a young girl. He quickly changed the subject. I have some tokens left, do you want them? Really? Uncle, you're not joking, right? That's a lot of tokens. The girl looked at him in surprise. He still had at least over 2,000 tokens, which was worth over 2,000 yuan based on the arcade's exchange rate. I've said I'm not playing anymore. I can't return them, and I don't want to sell them for cheap, so I'm giving them to you. Oh, but uncle, you're not planning anything funny, right? I'm still a kid. The girl pretended to be scared and cautious, her eyes acting quite well. Get out of here. Chen Feng couldn't help but ruffle her hair, making it a mess. The girl squealed, desperately trying to fix her hair, and Chen Feng felt much happier. Do you want them or not? I'll just drop them if you don't. I want them. Why wouldn't I? This is compensation for messing up my hairstyle. The girl defended her stance. Okay. I'll take them to the counter and put them on your membership card. You have one, right? Of course. They quickly made their way to the counter, counted the tokens 2593 in total and added them to the girl's membership card. At this point, Chen Feng learned the girl's name, Chen Shero. After sorting out the membership card, they exited the arcade and stepped outside the mall, standing on the street. It was now past 10 o'clock, and Chen Feng asked with concern, Are you out here alone at night? Why do you care? Chen Shero looked at him suspiciously. Chen Feng suppressed his urge to ruffle her hair again and straightforwardly said, Are you not worried about your family? You're out late at night, and don't you have school tomorrow? Why do you care? Chen Shero shot him a disdainful glance and then turned and hurried away. What the hell? Chen Feng stood there, taken aback for a while before realizing this wild girl had no manners at all. She turned hostile just like that and left without any sentiment. They had spent the entire night playing games together, and he had given her over 2,000 tokens, yet she left without a second thought. What is happening in this world? Is everyone so cold-hearted? Can't there be more trust and warmth between people? Is this how the new generation is? Standing on the street, Chen Feng sighed, feeling that the world was not worth it. Chapter 7, Inevitable. Chen Feng felt unhappy, thinking that his kindness was taken for granted. Originally, he thought that if Chen Shero came out alone, he would send her back or call a taxi for her. After all, it was late at night, and she was a 15 or 16-year-old girl alone outside, which was really worrying. As a result, Chen Shero turned her face and ignored him, and just left him and ran away. Chen Feng sighed, turned around and walked towards where he parked his car. Just after walking a distance, I heard a voice behind me shouting, Uncle, uncle, wait a minute. Chen Feng turned around in surprise and saw Chen Shero running towards him, a little out of breath. Why did you leave? What do you mean? Chen Shero ran up to him, panting and glaring at Chen Feng in dissatisfaction, leaving him stunned. Give. Chen Shero took out a bottle of drink from the plastic bag containing $5 and stuffed it into Chen Feng's hand. Chen Feng finally reacted and asked, Did you go to buy drinks just now? What else? Chen Shero glared at Chen Feng, You didn't think I ran away, did you? Oh, this, har, of course not. Chen Feng was a little embarrassed. He obviously misunderstood and wronged her. As expected, although this little girl had no upbringing, her nature was not bad. Then why did you leave without saying a word? Chen Shero looked unwilling to give in. Chen Feng, a grown man, certainly would not be stumped by a little girl's question, and answered naturally, My car is parked here, I want to drive over to the roadside and wait for you. Oh, you drove here. Was it an e-donkey? Chen Shero quipped with disdain. She was indeed an uneducated wild girl. Before yesterday, he didn't even have an electric donkey, let alone a car. Fortunately, he really has a car now, otherwise it would be embarrassing. It's a car with 4 wheels, Chen Feng emphasized. Of course a car has 4 wheels, how could it have 2 wheels? Chen Shero deliberately argued. Okay. Do you want me to take you home? If you're worried, I'll call you a taxi. This wild girl is really a headache, and Chen Feng doesn't want to argue with her. Qin Xiero refused directly. It's only 10 o'clock, it's still early. I don't want to go back now. Chen Feng frowned and asked, it's so late, are your family members comfortable with you being out alone? Qin Xiero said with a cold face, I have no family. Chen Feng was stunned, looked her up and down, shook his head and said, you are kidding. The clothes you are wearing cost at least 1,000 yuan, and the shoes are a famous brand, they must also cost thousands, right? Could you be an orphan? Qin Xiero continued to argue, who said I'm an orphan? Chen Feng said angrily, didn't you just say that you have no family? If you have no family, you are an orphan. Qin Xiero. Isn't it? Chen Feng stared. Qin Xiero said seriously, when I say no family, I mean no one is home tonight, understand? This level of self-justification is unparalleled. Chen Feng couldn't help but put his hand on his forehead and said helplessly, okay, whatever you say is what it is. After saying that, he turned and left. He didn't want to continue to endure this little brat's temper. Hey, wait for me. Qin Xiero hurriedly followed, carrying a large plastic bag. Chen Feng wanted to ignore it, but he thought that she was a girl and it was really unsafe at night. He looked at the drink in his hand, sighed, and could only stop. Uncle, don't leave in such a hurry. Have a drink first. We have been playing in the game hall for so long and haven't had any water. Aren't you thirsty? As Qin Xiero spoke, she took out a bottle of drink, opened it, and started drinking it. Seeing this, Chen Feng didn't hesitate, he was indeed thirsty, so he opened the drink in his hand, drank half of the bottle in one breath, then burped and felt very comfortable. This drink is good. Chen Feng praised casually and looked at the drink bottle, Yuanchang functional drink, he had never drunk it before. Not bad. I love this kind of drink, and there's a chance to win a prize. I won 200 yuan last time. Qin Xiero said, picking up the bottle cap and turning it over to look at it, and said with some regret, I didn't win the prize, give me yours and let me see it. Chen Feng casually handed the bottle cap to her. Qin Xiero flipped the bottle cap and took a look. Her eyes widened immediately, and then she shouted in surprise, I won the prize, the grand prize, a whale color TV. What luck! Chen Feng felt a little numb, he didn't even want to win any prizes, so he just used someone else's hand to make him win. This operation really made Chen Feng unavoidable. Uncle, you won a color TV, worth several $1,000s. Aren't you excited? Qin Xiero saw Chen Feng's calm face and asked with some confusion. I already have a color TV at home, so I'll give it to you. Chen Feng said indifferently. Qin Xiero was stunned for a moment, then lowered her voice and said in a somewhat coy tone, Uncle, why are you so nice to me? Not only did you give me so many game coins, but you also gave me a big prize. You are not attracted to me, are you? I am still young. Oh my god. Chen Feng couldn't help but stretch out his hand and rub her head hard, making her hair into a mess again. Qin Xiero screamed again and said angrily, I'm warning you, if you do this again, I'm going to get angry. Do you know that your behavior is equivalent to destroying someone else's face and is a crime? Seeing that the wild girl was really angry, Chen Feng had to wave his hands and said, okay. It's my fault. But, what nonsense did you say just now? You are still underage. I also have a wife. Don't talk nonsense, understand? I gave you game coins before because I really don't want to play video games. Now I give you this big prize because I don't need this color TV, and this drink was also bought by you for me, can I take it? Of course you can. I'm giving you this bottle of drink. It's yours. I have a color TV at home, and I'm still a minor, so I can't go to receive the prize alone. It's better for you to go. Okay. Chen Feng didn't want to argue with her. He put away the bottle cap and drank the rest of the drink in a few gulps. Come on, I'll take you home. You're really going home so early. Don't you want to continue playing for a while? Chen Feng said unhappily, it's almost 11 o'clock, it's still early. Don't you have to go to school tomorrow? Really? You adults are all like this, always meddling in other people's affairs. Chen Feng stopped talking, led the way, and soon arrived at his BIC. It's a new car, but it's a bit low-end and looks cheap. This girl really has a foul mouth. Chen Feng walked to the driver's seat and said to her, do you want me to take you home? If not, I'll leave. Yes. Of course. Chen Shiro quickly opened the passenger door and got in. Chen Feng also got into the driver's seat, started the car and asked, "Where is your home? Do you know Jinshu Road? Just send me there. Jinshu Road is quite long, at least 5 or 6 kilometers. Don't you have the coordinates?" "Okay, number 1 Academy." Chen Feng was a little surprised when he heard it. He looked at her in surprise and said, "I didn't realize that your family is quite rich." Chen Shiro curled her lips and said, "Money is useless." Chen Feng could only laugh. The Zhuangyuan Academy community is quite famous because it is one of the most high-end residential areas in Suzhou City, with prices per square meter exceeding 80,000 renminbi. As you can tell from the name of the community, this is a school district house. The surrounding kindergartens, primary schools, middle schools and even universities are among the best in the province. Chapter 8 Relaxation. 10 minutes later, the car arrived at Zhuangyuan Academy. Stopping the car on the side of the road, Chen Feng tilted his head and said, "Get out. Try not to go out alone at night. It's not safe for a girl like you, understand?" This time, Chen Shiro didn't fight back, but just said, "Since you are worried about my safety, then play with me. I usually go to the game hall when I go out alone, not anywhere else." Chen Feng thought to himself, "I am not your father. I just said that because we are all acquainted, it was just a senior's concern for the younger generation." So, Chen Feng said simply, "I'm busy." "Okay, get off the car. Pay more attention to your safety in the future." Chen Shiro curled her lips and said, hypocritical, then took out her phone, opened WeChat and said, "Scan me." Chen Feng took a look and hesitated for a moment, then took out his newly bought mobile phone and scanned it. Soon the friend request was approved. Chen Feng noted, "Wild girl," and for Chen Shiro, Chen Feng noted, "Uncle. Uncle, when I ask you to come out and play in the future, can you accompany me?" Chen Shiro suddenly asked in a pitiful voice. Chen Feng would not be fooled by her tricks, this wild girl was very clever. However, he could not refuse directly, lest she would keep asking him questions. So Chen Feng perfunctorily said, "Let's talk about it later. I may not be free. Are you refusing?" Chen Shiro tilted her head and glared in dissatisfaction, pouting her lips, which looked a bit cute. Chen Feng smiled and said, "Isn't that what I meant? I have a job, a wife and children, so it's rare for me to have free time." "You are kidding me." Chen Shiro said with disdain, "We played games all night, and no one called you. You are a bachelor, where is your wife and children?" Chen Feng was speechless. Are all kids nowadays so smart? After Chen Feng was exposed by her, he didn't want to continue lying. It was pointless. Okay. I'm single, okay? We'll meet again next time if we're lucky. Now get off the bus and go home." "Humph. Just go down." Chen Shiro seemed a little angry, so she opened the car door and got out. Chen Feng did not leave immediately. Instead, he watched her walk angrily towards the gate of Zhuangyuan Academy, swinging the large plastic bag in her hand left and right as if she was venting her anger. He couldn't help but feel a little funny in his heart. Although this girl is a little uneducated, she is actually quite cute. If he had such a lovely daughter, he would definitely accompany and care for her. Unfortunately, it seems that he will never have one in this life. Thinking of this, Chen Feng suddenly became dissatisfied with the girl's parents. It's late at night and your daughter is out playing alone, but as a parent you don't care about anything. This is so irresponsible. Chen Feng watched Chen Shiro walk into the gate of Zhuangyuan Academy before he started the car and left. What he didn't know was that when he drove away, Chen Shiro, who had never looked back, turned around and stood there with a reluctant look, watching his car drive away. After returning to the rental house, he took a shower and then lay down on the bed to prepare for sleep. Suddenly, Chen Feng thought that he didn't seem to have any symptoms of nausea, vomiting, or headaches in the past 2 days. Chen Feng thought about it carefully and it seemed to have happened after his divorce. Before the divorce, and even when he was going through the divorce procedures at the Civil Affairs Bureau, he still had a slight headache. After getting the divorce certificate, the headache symptoms seemed to disappear, and then I had good luck one after another. The experience of these 2 days can only be described as magical. Chen Feng was very confused about his good luck in the past 2 days. This luck was so unreasonable and even weird. However, he thought he only had 2 or 3 months to live, so he was open-minded and had nothing to be afraid of. Good luck is always better than bad luck. If it weren't for the terminal illness, he would probably wake up laughing in his dreams. Relax your mind and have a good night's sleep. Compared to his previous frequent insomnia, his sleep quality in the past 2 days was really good. It was surprisingly good. He woke up automatically at almost 7 o'clock in the morning. This was the biological clock he had developed over the past few years. Normally, he would get up in a hurry at this time, wash up, and then rush to work, because his working time was at 8 o'clock, and it would take almost 20 minutes to get there by bicycle. His ex-wife Shenlin felt much more comfortable. In a public institution, she was expected to go to work at 9 o'clock, but in fact she was not late if she went to work at 9:30. The work is easy and the remuneration is very good. Not to mention 5 social insurances and 1 housing fund. The company often provides benefits, including food and clothing, and a large bonus at the end of the year. Chen Feng, a bitter office worker, could only envy, and hate him. More importantly, he was often criticized in the company. As a result, he has been depressed and oppressed in the past 2 years, and he seems to be very decadent. In this case, it's no wonder that the relationship between Shenlin and him is getting weaker and weaker. The reason why she fell in love with Chen Feng in the first place was that she couldn't deny that Chen Feng was very handsome. He was 1.78 meters tall and loved basketball. He could do 100 push-ups every day. He was considered one of the top picks in college and maintained a good figure. Don't say that women choose men regardless of appearance. This is only when they have no choice or the man is very rich. Otherwise, it's just bullshit. Men and women are actually the same, they are all visual animals. Men will be attracted when they see beautiful women, and the same is true for women when they see handsome men. Chen Feng was a handsome guy back then. Although he had no money or a house, his job at that time was not bad. He made 7 or 8,000 a month. He was highly valued by his boss, and he would soon be promoted and raised his salary. It was because of these comprehensive conditions that Shenlin fell in love with him. After 2 years of love, she insisted on marrying him regardless of her family's objections. As a result, not long after the two got married, Chen Feng suffered a major setback in his career. First, the leader who valued him resigned due to a serious illness. Then, the leader's mortal enemy took over, so Chen Feng, who was originally the leader's trusted confidant, was of course excluded and suppressed. First, they seized a small mistake he made at work and removed him from his position as deputy manager, demoting him to an ordinary employee. Then, they gave him some of the most difficult cases in the company to do. Naturally, he failed to do them and was inevitably scolded again. At this point, Chen Feng couldn't stand it anymore and was ready to resign. As a result, his resignation report was approved, but he had to pay a penalty. The reason was that Chen Feng had signed a 5-year contract with the company, but he had only been there for 3 years when he resigned. According to the contract, if Chen Feng resigns early, he must pay the 100,000 yuan training fee that the company spent on him in the early stage. When he started working, the company sent him to a professional institution for 2 months of training, but the cost of 100,000 yuan was too much. This so-called training fee is of course just an excuse. In fact, it is liquidated damages, a way to circumvent relevant laws. However, those who were sent to training at that time were all talents that the company was very optimistic about and focused on training. Therefore, it is normal to have such a provision in the contract. Otherwise, if you are trained well and then resign not long after, wouldn't it be a bargain for other companies? Moreover, this regulation is mutual. If the company wants to dismiss an employee during these 5 years, it must pay a penalty of 50,000 yuan. Although it was somewhat unequal, such a contract was still considered fair in today's labor market. All the people who were sent to training by the company signed it without exception. Of course, it was impossible for Chen Feng to pay 100,000 yuan for breach of contract, so he could only continue to stay in the company. He was quickly marginalized and quickly became decadent after a few months. His weight increased day by day and he became the fat man he is now. Chapter 9 What you did can't be said by me? He has been in this company for more than 4 years, and has been decadent for almost 2 years. There are less than 3 months left before the end of his 5-year contract. If he hadn't been diagnosed with a terminal illness, he would still be working in this company, waiting for the 5-year contract to expire, and also to get a monthly salary of 3,000 to 4,000. 2 years ago, As the deputy manager of the planning department, he had a salary of 7,000 to 8,000 yuan and was about to be converted to a full-time employee with a monthly income of over 10,000 yuan. However, he was quickly marginalized and his salary kept decreasing. With full attendance, performance, and partial bonuses, he only earned 3,000 to 4,000 yuan a month, which was more than cut in half. It was only later that Chen Feng completely gave up and the newly appointed CEO lost interest in suppressing him, otherwise his salary might have continued to decrease. Because the full attendance bonus is 900 yuan, even though Chen Feng used to be a slacker in the company and had no ambition to make progress, his attendance rate is still very good and he is basically never late. But as of today, he has been absent for 2 days, so of course he does not have perfect attendance this month. Before the divorce, he might have been very sad, but of course it doesn't matter now. Originally, Chen Feng had no plan to go to the company on the new day. As a result, that morning, when he was leisurely eating mutton noodles at home, he received a call from his manager Yang Jun. "Chen Feng, do you still want to work? You asked for a day off, how many days has it been now?" Yang Jun was just his apprentice 2 years ago. He rose rapidly by betraying his master and using his profound flattery skills. He first replaced his position as deputy manager of the planning department, and then squeezed out the regular manager only a year later and succeeded in taking the position. Judging from his personal experience, this guy is a true elite in the workplace. He is the kind of person who smiles in front of people but stabs them in the back. After he succeeded in taking the position 2 years ago, he also gave Chen Feng a lot of trouble, but later he saw that Chen Feng had completely given up and no longer posed a threat to him, so he stopped targeting him. At most, he would criticize Chen Feng during department meetings without naming him. Therefore, even though Chen Feng had a lot of complaints about him and had thought about blocking him and beating him up after get off work several times, he couldn't help but admire this guy's workplace skills in his heart. This time, Chen Feng took 1 day off and ended up not coming to work for 3 days. As the department manager, Yang Jun of course had to call and inquire, but his tone was very bad. As a dying man, Chen Feng felt more relaxed. After Yang Jun finished speaking, he said slowly, "I don't want to do this anymore. If you don't want to do this, fine, then resign. Just pay the 100,000 yuan penalty. Okay, Yang Jun? Why are you so annoying? Don't you have any conscience? Who brought you in when you first joined the company? Who rented a house for you? Who paid the rent for you? Chen Feng, is it interesting for you to say this now? You didn't come to work on your own accord, and I didn't force you to not come. If you still have some feelings for me, just consider it as granting me 3 days leave. I clearly approved you for 1 day off, why 3? Okay. You can come or not. Anyway, if you haven't come to work for 3 days, you will definitely lose your full attendance this month, and your performance and bonus will be at least halved. If you don't come for 4 consecutive days, you will lose your performance and bonus for this month. Don't blame me for not telling you in advance." Chen Feng was unhappy when he heard this, and said coldly, "Today is the 17th, and I had already worked for half a month when I asked for leave. Even if I don't go to work for the next half month, there is no reason to deduct all my performance and bonuses. Yang Jun, you should be conscientious. It's been 2 years, and you are still targeting me. Do you think it's fun? Do I need to target an old-timer like you? Anyway, this is the company's rule. I've already informed you that if you don't come to work, your performance and bonus will be deducted this month. That's it." After saying that, Yang Jun hung up the phone. Although Chen Feng doesn't care about the salary now, Yang Jun is really going too far. He was about to die and didn't want to bother with him, but this guy just wouldn't change his bad habits. He was addicted to bullying his master and did this again. There was no need to talk about magnanimity with him. Before dying, of course, one should take revenge if necessary and repay kindness if necessary, leaving no regrets for oneself. Chen Feng made up his mind and continued to eat the mutton noodles slowly. After he was full and burped, he packed up slowly and drove to the company. Jinchuan Cultural Planning Company is located in a high-end business office building in the center of Suzhou City. Its main business is to undertake event planning and execution, corporate culture construction, performing arts activities, brand planning, exhibitions, product launches, etc. for major companies. It is one of the largest companies in the same industry in Suzhou. It has been established for more than 10 years and has more than 200 employees. It rents a first floor of an office building as an office space, and the annual rent is nearly 10 million yuan. It can be said that it is very wealthy. However, as a company employee, Chen Feng, although he has been relatively idle in the past 2 years, has also noticed that the company's performance has been declining in the past 2 years. There are already rumors that the boss is very dissatisfied with the current management of the company. There is a possibility of replacing the leadership or directly selling the company. When Chen Feng arrived at the company, it was almost 10 o'clock in the morning, so he didn't need to punch in. There were 2 pretty girls at the front desk wearing professional attire and beautiful bow ties on their collars. When they saw Chen Feng coming in, one of them, named Wang Li, immediately asked with concern, "Brother Feng, why haven't I seen you come to work these past 2 days? Something happened at home." Chen Feng nodded with a smile, and without saying much, he walked inside. After Chen Feng entered, another receptionist teased him in a low voice, "Lily, you seem to care about him a little too much, don't you?" Wang Li hit her lightly and said coquettishly, "What are you talking about? Brother Feng helped me a lot in the past. TSK, didn't he just happen to scare off a few hooligans for you? How many times have you said this? Do you still want to marry him? He's a married man." "Don't talk nonsense, I didn't." Wang Li defended herself with a blushing face. Chen Feng soon arrived at the planning department's office area and saw Yang Jun giving orders to his subordinates. When Chen Feng came in, he just glanced at him and completely ignored him. Seeing this, Chen Feng smiled slightly, walked over, and amid the strange looks of several colleagues in the same department, he pulled a chair and sat down. The planning department is the core department of the company, with a total of 25 people. However, they are not necessarily in the company at all times. Many times they have to go to the client company for on-site supervision and coordination. So, many times, there may be only a few people left in the company, and that was the case today. "Okay, let's get busy." After Yang Jun gave instructions to his men, they quickly returned to their cubicles. Yang Jun finally looked at Chen Feng straight in the eye and said coldly, "Chen Feng, you're back now. It's too late. You will lose your full attendance this month, and your performance and bonus will be cut in half." Chen Feng stood up from his chair, his eyes suddenly became sharp, and he shouted angrily, "Yang Jun, it seems that you are really a ruthless person. As your master, I treated you well. You stabbed me in the back and stepped on me to get to the top, but I didn't care too much about you. I have always tolerated you in the past, but it doesn't mean that I am afraid of you, nor does it mean that I will tolerate you all my life. Absence is just a small matter. I have nothing to say if you deduct my full attendance, but you also want to deduct all my performance and bonuses. Don't you think it's too much?" Yang Jun didn't expect Chen Feng to suddenly explode and question him so loudly in front of his colleagues, which was equivalent to overturning the table and tearing the relationship apart. What he did back then could not be talked about. If it were made public, it would be bad for his personal reputation and would also affect the company leader's view of him. After Chen Feng finished scolding him, he was stunned for a while before reacting. He immediately became angry and shouted, "Chen Feng, who the hell do you think you are? Do you still think you are the deputy manager of the planning department 2 years ago? You just joined the company a year earlier than me and led me for a few months. Do you think you are my benefactor? Don't flatter yourself. Even if I'm not your benefactor, I'm still your master. You King flattered me on the surface, but then you reported a small mistake I made at work to the newly appointed general manager Cao, stepping on me to get to the top. Isn't that right? You've done such an ungrateful thing, and I can't say anything about it." In the past, because Chen Feng wanted to last through the 5-year contract period in the company, he did not make public the dirty deeds that Yang Jun had done. Otherwise, Yang Jun would definitely make things difficult for him endlessly. But now Chen Feng is about to die, and Yang Jun is still bullying him so much, what else does Chen Feng have to worry about? Just kill him directly. After all, Yang Jun was in the wrong, and if the two of them made such a loud noise that the whole company knew about it, the only one who would be embarrassed would be him, the department manager. His face was livid, he gritted his teeth and approached Chen Feng, lowering his voice to threaten, "Are you going to play hardball with me? Let me tell you, I have plenty of ways to kill you, believe it or not." Chen Feng smiled at him, then slapped him hard. Bang! The sound was loud and powerful, and Yang Jun was caught off guard and knocked to the ground by the slap. Yang Jun's head was still buzzing when Chen Feng picked up a keyboard on the desk next to him, pulled it hard, and then smashed it on his head. With just one blow, Yang Jun was completely lying on the ground. Yang Jun had just wailed when he was hit in the face again. Keycaps fell to the ground and blood spurted out of his nose. He was about to hit him a few more times when several colleagues from the same department finally reacted and came forward to hold him back. Chapter 10, It's like destroying a house. Basically, these colleagues who stayed in the company were not Yang Jun's confidants. Only those who were sent out could be considered as Yang Jun's confidants, because although being sent out was harder, they had more free time and more benefits. Except for 2 senior employees who have been in the company for more than a year, the rest are new employees who joined in the past few months. The company has a lot of employee turnover in recent years, especially in the planning department, which has a lot of performance pressure. If Chen Feng had not been bound by the contract, he would have left long ago. Of course, most people who are not bound by contracts can leave whenever they want. Now these colleagues pulled Chen Feng together, not to save Yang Jun, but because they didn't want to make the matter worse. Of course, they were also afraid that if the matter got worse, it would implicate them. Another thing is that if they stand idly by, Yang Jun will definitely make them pay afterwards. Alright, let go. I won't do it again. After Chen Feng said this, he struggled hard for a few times, and the 2 people who were holding his arms let go. However, there were still 2 people blocking him in front. Yang Jun finally stood up from the ground with the help of the other 2. He put his hand across his mouth and found it was covered in blood, all from his nose. He was so angry that his whole body was shaking. He roared, "Chen Feng! I'm going to kill you." Chen Feng smiled at him contemptuously and said, "I'll stand here and let you kill me. Do you dare?" Okay. Let's see if I dare to do it." Yang Jun was so embarrassed after being beaten up by Chen Feng that his face was covered in blood. Of course, he no longer cared about his image as a department manager. Yang Jun said this with gritted teeth as he quickly went over to pick up a keyboard on the desk. He pulled hard with both hands, but couldn't get it out because the keyboard cable was still connected to their computer. Yang Jun angrily pulled hard with his hands again, and this time he finally pulled it out, but he also pulled the computer hose to the ground with a clang, and then the monitor fell to the ground with a bang. The display screen was directly scrapped. Many things on the desk also fell to the ground with a clang. It's like demolishing the house. This is a bit embarrassing. Yang Jun's momentum, which was as strong as a tiger's, suddenly withered. Thinking of Chen Feng's ruthlessness just now, his spirit weakened even more. Chen Feng is barefoot and is not afraid of those who wear shoes, but I now have a monthly salary of over 10,000 yuan, a car, a house, a family and children, so I can't fight with him. But he had even lifted up the keyboard, so it would be too embarrassing to back down halfway. Yang Jun immediately signaled with his eyes to the nearest subordinate, meaning that he wanted him to stop him so that he could get away from the situation. As a result, the subordinate obviously misunderstood his look, thinking that he was asking him to get out of the way, and he immediately and consciously moved aside, indicating that he was not blocking him and that he could use the keyboard as a weapon to his full potential. Yang Jun was dumbfounded at the time. He cursed him in his heart as an idiot, took a deep look at the newcomer, and made a note of him. The newcomer thought he had done the right thing and smiled shyly at him. Yang Jun was so angry that his liver ached. He held the keyboard with both hands and felt a bit stuck. Chen Feng saw his cowardice and said sarcastically, "Yang Jun, are you weak now? People like you can only plot against others behind their backs. If you want to take action, you are just a weakling. With your character, you will definitely not be able to satisfy your wife. I don't know how many times she will cheat on you in the future." Chen Feng. Fuck you. Yang Jun was completely furious, because Chen Feng really hit his sore spot. He really couldn't satisfy his wife, and this had been going on for a long time. The fear that his wife would cheat on him had always been a concern for him. Chen Feng is talking about things that are not related to the topic. Help me hold him down. Yang Jun shouted angrily, and directly ordered several subordinates, promising benefits. If you help me hold him down, your bonus next month will be doubled, and I will promote you vigorously in the future. The monthly bonus is also several hundred yuan, which is a very practical benefit. As for the strong promotion, although I don't really believe it, it's better than being framed. Suddenly, everyone at the scene looked at each other in hesitation. Chen Feng was very calm. He smiled and said, "Yang Jun, you are trying to drag others into this. Others may not know, but we don't know that you are nepotism and secretly accept various benefits from customers. You and your trusted subordinates have enriched themselves, accepted bribes, and harmed the interests of the company. You will go to jail sooner or later, and you are still trying to drag others into this. You, stop spitting blood at me. Yang Jun immediately lost his composure and felt guilty. He thought he had been very secretive in the past 2 years, and only he and a few of his trusted subordinates knew about it. He didn't expect that Chen Feng would expose it. What? Are you scared? Are you guilty? Chen Feng looked at him jokingly. Yang Jun was really scared and guilty. He had benefited a lot from the joint company in the past 2 years. Otherwise, how could he live so comfortably in Shuzhou, the provincial capital? It was impossible to rely on a salary of more than 100,000 yuan a year. Chen Feng, stop biting people. I'm upright and honest. Do you think anyone will believe you just because you say a few words to wrongly accuse me? Yang Jun said this, but he had already put down the keyboard that he had been holding with both hands, and he no longer mentioned asking his men to hold down Chen Feng. Chen Feng sneered, have you forgotten that I was once a deputy manager? Your little tricks may work for deceiving superiors and subordinates, but they can't be hidden from me, who has worked in your position. Do you understand? When Yang Jun heard what Chen Feng said, his head started buzzing again. He knew his own business and he had made a lot of money in the past 2 years. For example, the original price of the project proposal was 1 million, but he took a 100,000 yuan benefit from the client and only quoted 800,000 yuan, and told the company that the client was too good at lowering the price. This is obviously damaging the interests of the company. Another person is the project manager of the joint client company. Originally, the planning proposal only needed to be quoted at 1 million yuan, but the project manager of the client company wanted kickbacks and directly quoted 1.5 million yuan. He could at least get a few tens of thousands of yuan in benefits. These two methods are the most common ways of operation and can be regarded as unspoken rules in the workplace. There are also some more complicated ways to make money. In short, his annual gray income in the past 2 years has been several times his regular salary. Of course, these things are crimes, and if caught, he will definitely go to jail. Although he thought he would not be caught with evidence, he really didn't dare to take the risk. Especially if Chen Feng, an insider, were to expose the matter, he would definitely be in big trouble. Chen Feng, since you once led me, let's forget about what happened today. Just consider it as my repayment for your kindness. I will not embarrass you about the bonus and performance. Let's end this matter here. That's it. Yang Jun was still very decisive and immediately chose to compromise temporarily. It would be of no benefit to him to make a big fuss at this time. It is better to stabilize Chen Feng first, and then find a way to control him privately afterwards. Of course Chen Feng didn't want to let him go so easily. They had already fallen out, so how could there be any mercy left? What's more, although he had just beaten up Yang Jun, he still hadn't gotten rid of the anger that had been pent up in his heart for 2 years. Etc. Etc. Two sounds rang out at the same time. Chen Feng looked towards the door in surprise, and saw the company's general manager, Mr. Cao, accompanied by several other company executives, and a fierce woman in her 30s walked in. Mr. Cao's face looked very ugly. His skin, which was already a little dark, became even darker now. Chapter 11. Too insidious. Seeing such a group of people coming in, everyone in the planning department was dumbfounded. Yang Jun in particular had a bad feeling in his heart. He didn't know how much of Chen Feng's nonsense these people heard just now. If they heard it all, it would certainly not be a good thing for him. After a brief moment of surprise, Chen Feng couldn't help but laugh. What luck! He originally wanted to make a big deal out of this matter, to take revenge and make it impossible for Yang Jun to survive in the company. As a result, his wish came true. The people coming in front of me are all senior executives of the company, including a general manager, 2 deputy general managers, as well as the manager of the finance department, the manager of the human resources department, the manager of the sales department and other departments. Of course Chen Feng knew these people, after all, he was considered an old employee of the company. As for the woman surrounded by them, Chen Feng had no impression of her. But he knew that she must be a more powerful person if she was surrounded by so many company executives. You two have a personal grudge, so please don't make a scene in the company. No one will care if you fight outside the company. Now, immediately, write a 3,000-word self-criticism. Read it together at the company meeting tomorrow. In addition, deduct 3 months of your bonuses. As the general manager of the company, Mr. Cao was the first to speak. He looked gloomy and sternly stared at Chen Feng for a while, then frowned and glanced at Yang Jun, who was in a mess with blood on his face. Yang Jun quickly bowed and nodded, admitting his mistakes repeatedly. "Leader, I'm sorry, it's all our fault. We will seriously review it. I will write a review now." Yang Jun admitted his mistake very well and turned around to escape. He looked very embarrassed now, and Chen Feng had just exposed him for making money in the company, so it was not suitable for him to stay here any longer. Etc. The fierce woman called out to him again. Seeing this, Yang Jun could only greet him with a smile, nodding and asking, "Leader, do you have any other instructions? Your colleague just now said that you were a traitor and accepted bribes. Is that true?" The woman looked stern and stared at him with cold eyes. Yang Jun was shocked and immediately argued loudly, "Of course it's not true. He is slandering me. He has a personal grudge against me and is framing me." The woman turned to Chen Feng and asked coldly, "Do you have any evidence for your accusation against him just now?" Chen Feng did not answer her immediately, but asked, "Who are you?" "A shareholder of our company." Before the woman could say anything, President Cao introduced her in a serious tone. "This is Director Liu, the new boss of our company. She was a shareholder of our company before, and now she has acquired our company in full. Welcome everyone." After Mr. Cao finished speaking, he led the applause. Of course, everyone else, including Chen Feng, followed suit and applauded. Director Liu remained indifferent to this. He just nodded slightly to everyone, then brought the topic back to Chen Feng and said, "Now answer my question." Chen Feng smiled at her and nodded, "Of course. If you want to see it now, I can show it to you. I just don't know if you will call the police." After Chen Feng said this, the faces of several people present changed. The one who changed the most was of course Yang Jun, whose body was shaking a little. He had made a lot of money by colluding with insiders and outsiders in the past 2 years. If he was found out, he would not be able to escape a few years in prison. If that happened, his family and his life would be ruined. But he couldn't figure out how Chen Feng could have evidence of him making money. Could it be a trick? He had to keep calm. He had to keep calm. Yang Jun managed to calm down and said with a look of grief and indignation, "Boss Liu, I was really framed by him. All his evidence must be fake. He was deliberately throwing dirty water on me." Chen Feng was very calm and said, "Whether it is a false accusation against you or not, you will know after checking and verifying it." "Boss, what do you think?" Director Liu nodded slightly and said, "Let's wait and see. If he really broke the law, I will definitely call the police and follow the legal procedures." Yang Jun felt like he was struck by lightning when he heard this. His head was buzzing and he didn't know how to respond for a moment. Mr. Cao then slowly said, "Mr. Liu, I think we should just resolve this matter internally. After all, ugly things should not be made public." Chen Feng smiled and said, "Boss Cao, why do you sound like you are sure that Yang Jun is in trouble?" Everyone was stunned when they heard this, and then they came to their senses. "Yes, what does it mean to keep scandals to yourself? You have already determined that it is a scandal before the investigation. Or did you know that there was something wrong with Yang Jun?" Mr. Cao's dark face suddenly turned red. He glared at Chen Feng and scolded him, "You have no respect for your elders. Do you have the right to speak here? Go back and write a 10,000-word self-criticism. If you don't write a good self-criticism and don't admit your mistakes with the right attitude, you won't get your bonus for the year. Boss Cao, you are too overbearing. You are the general manager, but you can't stop people from speaking, right? After all, you are just an employee. And this company belongs to Boss Liu." Chen Feng's words were correct, but his attitude was a bit arrogant. As an ordinary employee, how could you talk to the general manager of the company like this? The reason why Chen Feng didn't give Mr. Cao face was because he was the mortal enemy of Chen Feng's old boss. He was originally the deputy general manager, but when Chen Feng's old boss retired due to a serious illness, he took over the position of general manager. After that, he launched a revenge attack on Chen Feng. Chen Feng has been sitting on the bench in the company for the past 2 years, feeling frustrated, and the culprit behind this is this Mr. Cao. Mr. Cao was immediately furious and was about to lose his temper again when Mr. Liu raised his hand and said, "All right, Mr. Cao. I will make my own decision on this matter, so don't interfere." "Chen Feng, right? Now take me to see the evidence you mentioned. If it's true, I will definitely reward you handsomely. If it's false, you don't have to do it anymore." Chen Feng couldn't help but laugh again when he heard this. Although there were only 3 or 4 months left in the 5-year contract, he was really happy to be fired early. Both Mr. Cao and Yang Jun knew about Chen Feng's affairs. After hearing what Director Liu said, they all looked strange, moved their mouths, but ultimately said nothing. This matter was too troublesome to explain, and they all played disgraceful roles in it. "Okay. I'll go turn on the computer." Chen Feng went to a cubicle in the corner, turned on his office computer, operated it, logged into the network disk, downloaded an encrypted compressed package from the network disk, and then decrypted and opened it. This document contains some evidence of Yang Jun's abuse of power for personal gain, betrayal, and collusion with both sides to accept bribes in the past 2 years. It is listed according to some projects of our planning department. For example, in a recent project, we were responsible for planning the anniversary celebration of Dingxing Real Estate Company. The sales department originally negotiated 3.5 million yuan, but after the planning department joined, the other party lowered the price several times and it became 3 million yuan. The same plan, but the order was reduced by 500,000 yuan. Yang Jun got at least 100,000 yuan in benefits. "Chen Feng, you are slandering me. Is this evidence?" Yang Jun finally came to his senses at this time, and quickly jumped out to interrupt Chen Feng loudly, staring at Chen Feng with red eyes, as if he wanted to eat him. Because what Chen Feng said was true. Chen Feng actually secretly collected a lot of dirt on him, which was really insidious. He was so frightened just now that he almost rushed over and smashed Chen Feng's computer impulsively. Chen Feng ignored his impotent rage, clicked the mouse to open a photo, and introduced it to Mr. Liu next to him. "This is a receipt issued by the finance department of Dingxing Real Estate. It is stamped with their company seal, and it says, Jinchuan Cultural Public Relations expenditure of 128,000, and the date below is September 26th. At that time, it was during the anniversary celebration event that we, Jinchuan, were responsible for, and it happened to be the 3rd day after signing the 3 million contract. Although there are no names on the receipt, the people who were responsible for and executed this project at the time were all from our planning department." "Yang Jun, tell me, am I wronging you?" Following Chen Feng's words, everyone's eyes turned to Yang Jun, who looked extremely pale. Chapter 12: A Hard Blow. Although Chen Feng had been doing a bad job in the company in the past 2 years, he was of course very aggrieved and angry in his heart, especially because he had to pay the company a penalty of 100,000 yuan if he resigned. There is no future for him if he stays in the company where he is suppressed everywhere, and he cannot resign. Meanwhile, Yang Jun, this ungrateful guy, disgusts him from time to time. Chen Feng could only endure it on the surface, but in his heart he was filled with resentment towards General Cao and Yang Jun who had caused him to be like this. Therefore, Chen Feng has been secretly trying to find something to hold against the two of them. It's just that Mr. Cao is quite far away, and as an ordinary clerk he has no way of checking some things. Yang Jun is different. As people from the same department, they see each other every day. Moreover, Chen Feng has been in charge of the department's copywriting for the past 2 years, and he has records of every project in the department. In addition, he had secretly gathered a lot of evidence against Yang Jun in the past 2 years, and he also spent some money. The photo of the receipt just now was bought with money. Chen Feng originally planned to wait until his contract was about to end, then take out the evidence and report it to the company boss to give him a severe blow. But a few days ago, he was suddenly diagnosed with a terminal illness and was about to die. He became more open-minded about many things and no longer had the thought of revenge on Yang Jun. As a result, this guy bumped into him and hit the muzzle of his gun. It can only be said that he had brought this upon himself. Now looking at Yang Jun, whose face was pale and unable to answer Chen Feng's questions, Chen Feng actually did not have much joy of revenge in his heart, but only a sigh in his heart. Sooner or later you will pay for your misdeeds. Don't think that your crime is perfect and will not be exposed. In modern society, the probability of this happening is comparable to winning the double color ball jackpot. But there are so many people in this world who think they can win 8 million. This may be human nature. There is always a sense of luck. Call the police. Director Liu said in a cold voice and waved his hand. The female assistant standing behind her took out her cell phone without saying a word, walked aside and called the police. Everyone was shocked. Yang Jun's legs went weak and he almost fell to his knees. He shouted again, "Boss Liu, I didn't do it. I really didn't do it. It was Chen Feng who slandered me and framed me. I really didn't do it. Lao Cao, notify the security." Director Liu had a cold look on his face and gave the order to General Manager Cao. "Oh, okay." Mr. Cao was a little dazed at first, and only after he came to his senses did he take out his cell phone. When Yang Jun saw that Mr. Cao was going to make a phone call, he immediately said angrily, "Mr. Cao, you know I was wronged. It was Chen Feng who wronged me. Mr. Cao, you have to give me a fair word." Hearing this, President Cao looked at Director Liu with his phone and pleaded, "Director Liu, look at this matter, why don't we just conduct an internal investigation in our company?" Director Liu glanced at him coldly and said indifferently, "It seems that President Cao has a good relationship with Yang Jun. Did you promote him?" Deputy General Manager Zhang at the side interrupted and said, "Yes, Mr. Liu. Yang Jun was promoted by General Manager Cao. Yang Jun was originally an apprentice brought up by Chen Feng. I heard that the two had a good relationship at that time. Chen Feng was the deputy manager of the planning department at that time, but for some reason, General Manager Cao removed him as soon as he took office, and then promoted Yang Jun to be the deputy manager of the planning department. A few months later, he was officially promoted to manager of the planning department." Director Liu chuckled twice and nodded slightly, as expected. "Mr. Cao, since he is your confidant, you should avoid suspicion in this matter. Lao Zhang, this matter is left to you. Conduct an internal investigation and clean up. Pull out all those who are betraying you. Expel those who should be fired and prosecute those who should be prosecuted. When the police come, you should cooperate with the police investigation." Upon hearing this, Vice President Zhang smiled and said, "Okay, Director Liu, I will ensure that the task is completed." Mr. Cao's face turned pale and he couldn't say a word, because what Mr. Zhang said was true. Yang Jun's legs were shaking. He wanted to confess and give up part of the money, but he was unwilling to do so. He was also afraid that if the police came and the evidence was conclusive, he would be finished. He was even more terrified when he thought that he might have to spend several years in prison. For a moment, Yang Jun was torn between conscience and desire, and he was completely stunned on the spot. "You are very good. I keep my word. If the police investigate and find that the situation is true, the company will definitely reward you." Director Liu's tone towards Chen Feng became much gentler. Chen Feng didn't say much, but just shook his head calmly. Seeing this, Director Liu couldn't help but frown and asked, "Why, are you not satisfied?" "No." Chen Feng stood up from his seat and said calmly, "I don't want any reward because I have a grudge against Yang Jun. In addition, when this matter is settled, I hope you can approve my resignation." "You want to resign?" Director Liu frowned and looked at him. "Yes. I hope you approve." Director Liu was silent. Director Cao snorted coldly and said, "Chen Feng, you are still under contract. If you want to resign early, you must first pay the company a penalty. The company spent a lot of money to send you to the Magic City for training. Boss Cao, I'm talking to CEO Liu, why are you butting in? Do you think I wasn't prepared when I beat up Yang Jun and exposed him today? In fact, you and Yang Jun are birds of a feather. Yang Jun has been giving you gifts for the past 2 years. You should have known that Yang Jun is a traitor and is profiting from his own wealth, and you may even be doing it yourself. Otherwise, why has the company's performance shrunk so much in the past 2 years? You, as the general manager, are to blame. You're addicted to slandering others, aren't you?" Mr. Cao pointed at Chen Feng and cursed, "Be careful or I'll sue you for defamation." Director Liu frowned and looked at him with a stern gaze. Director Cao suddenly felt inexplicable pressure and was unable to say the next harsh words. Chen Feng sneered, "If you are really innocent, tell me, whose money did you use to buy the Zifu Haiyuan villa you live in now? A Zifu Haiyuan villa must cost more than 10 million. And your annual bonus plus salary, plus part of the company's dividends, is no more than 1 million. Your wife is a housewife, and your 2 children are in aristocratic schools. The annual tuition fees add up to nearly 1 million. Don't tell me that all this money is a family inheritance. Your family has been poor farmers for 3 generations, and your wife's family is just an ordinary family. Of course, you may also win the lottery or gamble. If that's the case, just ignore me. Although we haven't found any solid evidence against Mr. Cow in the past 2 years, we have investigated some of his details. He didn't do it himself, but he paid for it through the internet. This information can be obtained for less than 1,000 yuan. If we tell these things, we don't want to catch him, but to disgust him. You're investigating me. Mr. Cow was extremely angry. Without saying a word, he took a few steps forward and slapped Chen Feng in the face. Chen Feng had been on guard against him. He leaned back to avoid the slap and then kicked him in the belly. Mr. Cow groaned, took a few steps back, and finally sat down on the ground. You dare to hit me? Good. Very good. You are finished, I tell you, you are finished. Mr. Cow stared at Chen Feng with gritted teeth. Chen Feng smiled and said, everyone saw it. He was the first to attack. I was just forced to fight back. Mr. Cow got even angrier when he heard this. That's enough. Director Liu interrupted him and said sternly, Cow Kuan, you are the general manager after all. You beat up an employee in front of so many of us. Do you still look like a leader? You will be suspended from your job for the time being. Go home and reflect on yourself for 2 days. Upon hearing this, Cow Kuan looked very unhappy and said in a gloomy tone, Boss Liu, I have worked at Jinchuan for more than 10 years. You are suspending me because of such a small matter. Isn't that a bit unreasonable? Mr. Liu did not give him any face and asked, do you think beating up employees is a small matter? Then you should go home and reflect on it. Go back now. Upon hearing this, Cow Kuan didn't say anything else. He quickly stood up from the ground, stared at Chen Feng with a gloomy look, then glanced at Mr. Liu, turned around and left. Everyone had different expressions when they saw this. Some looked worried, some looked happy. At this time, several security guards of the company happened to come over and directly controlled Yang Jun according to the instructions of Vice President Zhang. Chen Feng looked at the distraught Yang Jun and said calmly, Yang Jun, if I were you, when the police come later, you should confess honestly. Including the money you gave to Cow Kuan in the past 2 years. You can't go to jail and have your assets frozen while he still lives in a luxurious villa with a beautiful wife and concubines at home. I think most of the money he used to support his mistress was from you, right? Chen Feng, you are so insidious. Anyway, I didn't do it, so it's useless for you to frame me. After the police clear my name, you can just wait for me to sue you for defamation. Yang Jun looks very tough. However, his tough demeanor completely collapsed a few minutes after the police arrived. He wasn't even handcuffed, but he was shaking like a sieve and his face was filled with fear. He looked completely guilty. Chapter 13 I'm rich. Yang Jun was taken away by the police, and Chen Feng followed him to make a statement and handed over the evidence he had collected to the police. Afterwards, Chen Feng drove home with a relaxed look on his face. This guy Yang Jun will be in trouble this time. If he doesn't die, he will be severely punished. It seems that imprisonment is inevitable. In short, his ending will not be good. In this way, Chen Feng felt relieved. As for going to work, of course he doesn't go to work. However, not long after he returned to the rental house, he received a call from Vice President Zhang Delai. After a few polite greetings and compliments, he expressed his hope that he could return to the company to take over the position of planning manager temporarily. This was his idea and he recommended it to Director Liu, who agreed. If he performed well during the temporary period, he could be hired as a full-time employee in 1 or 2 months at the earliest. If it weren't for the terminal illness, Chen Feng would definitely be very excited at this moment and would be very grateful to Zhang Delai. But now, not to mention that he has a terminal illness and doesn't have much time left, even if he doesn't have a terminal illness, he is not short of money now, so why is he still working for others? So, Chen Feng simply refused and asked to resign again. Zhang Delai was a little disappointed and said that both he and Mr. Liu valued him very much, and if he wanted to resign, it would have to be decided by Mr. Liu himself. Chen Feng was not surprised by this. He would definitely not continue to work anyway. And he was almost certain to resign this time, because he had a brain tumor diagnosis from the hospital. The employees were all suffering from terminal illnesses, but your company still didn't allow him to resign. And you wanted to charge him for breach of contract. There is no such thing in the world. This was also the biggest reason why Chen Feng went to the company to make trouble. I have a terminal illness and I'm about to die. To put it bluntly, I will not suffer any loss even if I kill you. It is already very merciful not to kill you, not to mention just beating you up. As for resigning, there will certainly be no problem. It was Yang Jun's bad luck that he happened to meet the new boss, Mr. Liu, who came to inspect the company and happened to hear Chen Feng exposing the corruption within the company. This really walked into trouble. Yang Jun can only blame himself for his bad luck. However, this also delayed Chen Feng's resignation. Of course, for Chen Feng, who was about to die and had no shortage of money, it didn't matter whether he resigned or not. He went back to the rental house, got the sheep stone and went out again. He first went to the Yujie restaurant, a very famous and expensive restaurant in the city, to have a good lunch. It cost him more than 500 yuan, and there were only 4 dishes. But after eating, Chen Feng was very satisfied. The high price was indeed justified. After lunch, we drove to the largest Chinese medicine store in the city Huishintang, which is not only famous in the province, but also quite famous in the country. It can be ranked among the top few among several old brands. Chen Feng walked in and asked a young man in a white coat at the counter, "Do you accept medicinal herbs?" The young man in the white coat shook his head and said, "We generally don't buy from outsiders. Unless it's a rare medicinal herb, like wild ginseng or something." Chen Feng said, "I have a natural sheep stone here. Is it rare?" The young man in the white coat was stunned for a moment, then quickly nodded and said, "Of course it counts. I'll take you to see Mr. Hu, he's the old shopkeeper of Huishintang." After saying that, the young man in the white coat enthusiastically took Chen Feng to an office on the upper floor of Huachun Hall. By the way, the young lady in the white coat was a pretty lady with a face value of more than 80 points, about 23 or 24 years old. She didn't look like an ordinary counter worker, and she had a smooth journey. The few people she met along their way all treated her with smiles, and she was also very familiar with the old shopkeeper, Mr. Hu. After she brought Chen Feng into the office, she explained her purpose to Mr. Hu. Without Mr. Hu's instructions, she asked Chen Feng to sit down and poured a cup of tea for Chen Feng. Then she sat down by herself, with no restraint at all, and Mr. Hu seemed to be used to it. After Mr. Hu asked Chen Feng a few simple questions, Chen Feng took out the piece of sheep gall and handed it to him for identification. Mr. Hu put on his reading glasses and looked at it carefully for a while, then put his nose close to the tip of his nose and sniffed it. Then he took a magnifying glass and carefully examined it again. He nodded and confirmed, "It is natural sheep gall, the quality is not bad. How do you plan to sell it?" Chen Feng said calmly, "You name the price first. If the price is right, I will sell it. If it is not, I will not sell it." Seeing this, Mr. Hu took out a small medicine scale and weighed it, saying, "For Liang 5 Qian, 225 grams. The current market price of natural goat gall is 30,000 to 100,000, depending on the quality. Yours is of above average quality, so I'll give you 60,000 per gram. What do you think?" Chen Feng's head suddenly became filled with blood when he heard this, and his heartbeat suddenly accelerated with excitement. 60,000 per gram, multiplied by 225 grams, wouldn't it be more than 10 million? He thought that selling it for 5 or 6 million would be the best, and the ideal price would be 4 or 5 million. And now such a sky-high price really shocked him completely. Seeing that Chen Feng didn't speak, Mr. Hu frowned slightly and said, "Mr. Chen, are you not satisfied with this price?" Chen Feng came back to his senses and quickly shook his head, "No. To be honest, the price you gave is much higher than I expected." Chen Feng spoke very calmly, and his originally excited mood quickly calmed down. More than 10 million is a lot for him, but the same thing applies, he is going to die soon, and no amount of money can buy him a few more decades of life. So, this money is good, but it is not of much use to someone who is dying. Seeing Chen Feng say this in a natural manner, Mr. Hu nodded in appreciation and said, "Not bad. You are lucky to have met me this time. If you had gone to another pharmacy or auction house, they might not have given you such a price." Mr. Hu said it very calmly. He himself was not short of money. Moreover, this piece of natural goat gall was exactly the medicinal material he needed recently. It was for a nobleman. He could get reimbursed and there was no need to save money for the nobleman's family. In other words, he didn't spend his own money to buy Chen Feng's goat gall, so he had nothing to feel bad about. Chen Feng actually believed what Mr. Hu said. Even if he said 30,000 yuan per gram, Chen Feng would definitely sell it. I've been lucky lately. Chen Feng said with a smile, "Thank you, Mr. Hu." "You're welcome. I won't suffer any loss." Mr. Hu smiled and said directly, "Then it's settled. 60,000 per gram, a total of 225 grams, 13.5 million. Give me a bank account number and name, and I'll have someone transfer the money to you right away." "Oh, okay, thank you." Chen Feng was about to get a pen and paper, but the beautiful woman next to him took the initiative to say, "Send me a WeChat message and I'll forward it. Handwriting may result in mistakes." Chen Feng thought about it and added her WeChat and sent her his account number and name. After receiving the message, Mr. Hu picked up his phone and made a call. Then, Mr. Hu chatted with Chen Feng for a few more words, and in just 10 minutes, Chen Feng received a text message from the bank stating that the money had arrived. For safety reasons, Chen Feng logged into the online banking on his mobile phone to check. The long list of account balances made Chen Feng feel dizzy. "I'm rich now. I suddenly received over 10 million. When did making money become so easy? But it is so easy. This is like a dream, but this dream is real." Chapter 14. I still want to save it. The office on the second floor of Huachun Hall. As soon as Chen Feng left, when Zahan asked with confusion, "Mr. Hu, why did you give him a high price at the beginning?" Mr. Hu smiled faintly and said, "Don't you think this person has a good temperament?" When Zahan thought about it and nodded, "That's right. It seems very friendly. I feel comfortable at first sight." Mr. Hu shook his head slightly and said, "That's different. The temperament I mentioned is mainly referring to qi. In Chinese medicine, the most important thing is to observe qi. Qi has many meanings, including complexion, aura, temperament, momentum, luck, etc. In short, when I saw him for the first time, after observing his qi, I knew that this person was extraordinary and had great luck. Now he looks a little troubled, which means he is down and out, but he has already started to get lucky. I took the opportunity to do him a favor. It's just a piece of cake for me, and it will only benefit me and Huishintang." When Zahan frowned and shook her head, saying, "Mr. Hu, you are making this sound a little bit mysterious. You are a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, not a Taoist fortune teller." Mr. Hu laughed and said, "Medicine and Taoism are inseparable, do you understand? I asked you to study Chinese medicine, but you chose to study Western medicine." Okay, I know what you mean, Mr. Hu. You want to play the long game and catch the big fish. You should think that he may have good medicinal materials in the future. Besides, we don't have to pay for the sheep treasure." Mr. Hu laughed and said nothing more. After receiving the huge sum of money, Chen Feng was still happy. After having so much money all of a sudden, Chen Feng was even more reluctant to die. So, he planned to save it. Besides, maybe there was something wrong with the equipment in the provincial hospital. Maybe the chief physician made a mistake in the diagnosis? Maybe the medical records were wrong? Maybe. In short, he was unwilling to give up and still wanted to save the situation. So, after leaving Huishintang, Chen Feng immediately went to another top hospital in the province, stuffed a big red envelope into the nurses and the head nurse, and got an appointment with a specialist. After a series of examinations, Chen Feng received the same brain tumor diagnosis again. The expert doctor's attitude was even better than that of the chief physician last time, and he spoke in a gentle and warm voice. However, the two people's words of comfort are exactly the same. Relax your body and mind, eat well, drink well, and have fun. If you have any wishes, try to realize them. For example, go to a place you have always wanted to go, eat food you have never eaten, etc. The expert spent almost 10 minutes comforting Chen Feng. If Chen Feng hadn't taken the initiative to end the consultation, the expert might have continued talking for a while. When Chen Feng said goodbye to her, he once again saw deep sympathy in her eyes. "This is a shitty hospital. Chen Feng swore never to come here again. Perhaps the medical resources of these grade A hospitals in the provincial capital are just for show. Perhaps the medical equipment of both hospitals is broken." In short, Chen Feng was unwilling to accept this. This guy just made more than 10 million and became a multi-millionaire. How could he be willing to die so soon? Chen Feng secretly decided to go to the best hospital in Beijing tomorrow, no, today. So Chen Feng drove back to the rental house to pack his luggage. Then, he booked a flight ticket. The nearest flight was at 4:30 p.m. It was already 3:30. Chen Feng immediately picked up his luggage and hailed a taxi to go to the airport. After rushing for a long time, I finally caught the flight. Because of the tight schedule, there were no seats available in both the economy and business classes when Chen Feng booked the flight, so Chen Feng directly booked a first-class seat. In the past, he couldn't even afford to fly business class, let alone first class. But now he had plenty of money and was probably going to die soon, so he certainly didn't feel bad about spending money. The service in first class is indeed incomparable to that in economy class and business class. Apart from anything else, the appearance and service attitude of the flight attendants are 1 or 2 levels better. The seats, space and hardware configuration are not comparable to the other 2 cabins. However, Chen Feng went to Beijing to seek medical treatment this time, so of course he had no time to look at the beautiful stewardess or study the seats. He just lay back in his seat, squinting his eyes and thinking about random things, then slowly fell asleep. By the time he was woken up by the airplane broadcast, he had already arrived in Beijing. The flight from Suzhou to the capital is only about 2 hours. Chen Feng immediately picked up his luggage and hurried off the plane. Soon everyone gathered at the cabin door and waited in line. Suddenly, Chen Feng was pushed hard from behind, and he was caught off guard and bumped into the person in front of him. This was a woman. She screamed and also rushed forward. Fortunately, there was a very heavy woman in front of her. The chassis looked very stable, and her petite and light body did not shake the person in front of her, but she did scare the person in front. "What are you doing?" The fat girl in front turned around and glared at the woman, then said with envy, "Look at how thin you are. You will fall down if the wind blows. What's the point? You can't even stand steadily." I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, someone bumped into me from behind." The woman quickly apologized and explained, and then she glared at Chen Feng angrily. "What are you doing? Did you do this on purpose? Be careful or I'll sue you for sexual harassment." The woman wore big sunglasses and heavy makeup. Her skin was too white and her lips were too red. However, you could see that her face shape was very good and delicate. Chen Feng did not say anything back, but turned around and looked behind him in displeasure. It turned out to be another fat man. He quickly shook his hands and said, "It's not me. The man just hid behind me." Chen Feng turned his head and looked behind him. There was a long line. How could he find him? Should he check the surveillance camera? He could only give up. Perhaps because of what the fat man said, the woman in front knew that Chen Feng was also pushed, so she ignored Chen Feng. She just kept a little distance from Chen Feng and slightly turned sideways to guard against him. Chen Feng felt a little depressed when he saw this, but he didn't know what to say. Finally the hatch opened and everyone filed out. Chen Feng got in a taxi and headed for a hotel he had booked online. "It's already dark now, so I can only go to the hospital to register tomorrow." Taxi drivers in Beijing are said to be very talkative, but the driver of the taxi Chen Feng was in was obviously an exception. After Chen Feng got in the car, he didn't say much except asking for the address. Chen Feng took the initiative to ask, "Master, I heard that Shuangyan Hospital in Beijing is the best. Is that true?" The driver then spoke up, "Shuangyan Hospital is pretty good, but not the best. The best ones are not open to the public. It's useless even if you have money. You need connections to get in." "Oh, can you tell me which is the best hospital?" Chen Feng asked humbly. "Well." The driver was about to lose his appetite when he shouted, "Fuck." Then there was a loud bang, the car body shook violently and rear-ended a black car in front. Chapter 15. You are following me. Chen Feng, who was stretching his head to talk to the driver, almost fell to the front and couldn't help but curse. "How do you drive?" As soon as the driver got off the car, he angrily and loudly accused the driver who had just got off the car in front of him. Chen Feng also saw the situation just now. Everyone was driving well, but the car in front suddenly braked. The taxi driver might have been distracted by talking to Chen Feng and failed to brake in time. The driver in front was a woman, in her 30s, with a good temperament. She ignored the taxi driver's tone and went to the back of the car to check the damage first, then said, "Do you want to settle it privately or publicly? If it's a private settlement, we can each repair our own. If it's a public settlement, we'll wait for the traffic police." The taxi driver said, "We can settle it privately. Pay me 1,000 yuan and I have to replace my entire bumper." The woman got angry when she heard that and said, then you should also compensate me for the repairs. It's not expensive, 5,000 will be enough. The taxi driver shouted even louder, are you being reasonable? It was you who suddenly braked, otherwise would I have rear-ended you. The woman said with a straight face, you are being unreasonable. What's my car? What's your car? We repaired our own cars, but you took advantage of me and you want to extort money from me. The car the woman was driving was an Audi, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it looked relatively new, so it certainly couldn't compare to a taxi. You are right just because your car is good. Besides, you were driving normally and suddenly braked. It is definitely your responsibility. The taxi driver stiffened his neck. Chen Feng was speechless. The rear-end collision was definitely the fault of the rear car because it did not keep a safe distance. And the traffic law also stipulates this. The taxi driver obviously thought the female driver was easy to talk to and wanted to extort her, otherwise he would have called the police long ago. However, the driver was distracted just now, which was also related to him as a passenger, so Chen Feng couldn't say anything. At this time, a woman wearing sunglasses got out of the Audi in front and said impatiently, Sister E, what's the point of talking to such a person? Just call the police. Do you think we female drivers don't understand traffic laws? Upon hearing this, the female driver took out her cell phone and wanted to call the police, but the taxi driver stopped her and shouted angrily, you are not allowed to call the police. After saying that, the taxi driver reached out and pushed the woman who had just got off the car, causing her to stagger and lean back against the car body. The taxi driver was still not satisfied, and pointed his finger and cursed, keep your mouth shut, what do you mean by this kind of person? Do you look down on us, the common people? As he said this, he walked forward and glared down at the woman, as if he was going to hit her. Chen Feng didn't want to get involved, but seeing this, he quickly opened the car door, stepped forward a few steps, grabbed the taxi driver, and persuaded him, okay. Don't be impulsive. This was originally just an ordinary traffic accident. If you continue to make trouble, you will be detained. I didn't hit her. This woman has a foul mouth. You heard it too. She was the one who insulted me first. The taxi driver finally came to his senses and took 2 steps back, no longer being aggressive. Okay, beautiful sister, don't call the police. I think you are in a hurry to get on the road, as are we. You must have money. So, let's both take a step back and settle it privately. You can give the repairman a few hundred yuan for the repairs, and forget about it. Chen Feng was trying to smooth things over, slightly leaning towards the taxi driver. Of course, it was mainly for the safety of the 2 women. The taxi driver seemed to have a bad temper. If he really wanted to hit someone, Chen Feng wouldn't be able to stop him. Although the 2 women would suffer some losses, at least they would not be beaten. The female driver, Sister E, nodded and said, okay, I'll give you 500 yuan. If not, let's just make it fair. No, at least 800. The taxi driver became tough again. Chen Feng immediately became unhappy. This taxi driver was too shameless. Moreover, his behavior made Chen Feng, the peacemaker, lose face and he was too lazy to persuade him anymore. I turned around and went back to the car to get my luggage and took another taxi. The situation here is up to me. As I turned around, I heard a police siren, and then I saw a traffic policeman riding a motorcycle. NAE quickly raised her hand and called to the traffic police, Comrade Police, I'm calling the police. The taxi driver was very anxious when he saw this, and quickly said, don't bother the police, we can settle it privately and repair our own car. No. The woman who had just been pushed yelled, I'm going to sue you, you just pushed me. A police car followed soon after. The taxi driver was totally Spartan and out of his depth. Chen Feng shook his head secretly, went over to open the taxi door, picked up his luggage bag, and walked to the roadside. Police comrade, quickly catch him. That man is in cahoots with the taxi driver. I suspect they are professional scammers who try to extort money. When the woman in sunglasses called out, everyone looked at Chen Feng who was carrying the gift bag. The taxi driver was the first to react, and he was quite righteous. He quickly clarified to Chen Feng, what do you mean by scam? We are all decent people. He was a passenger I picked up from the airport. He just got off the plane not long ago. We don't know each other. How could we be in the same group? Chen Feng also looked at the woman speechlessly and said in a cold voice, please think before you speak. Did you forget that we were on the same plane? When we were about to get off the plane, I accidentally bumped into you. The woman in sunglasses suddenly showed a look of realization, and said with an "oh" sound, "No wonder you looked familiar to me. It turned out to be you. You deliberately bumped into me on the plane, and now you deliberately let the taxi driver hit me with his car. Who are you? You followed me and approached me. What's your conspiracy?" Chen Feng was completely convinced. He was too lazy to waste time with a woman with a mental problem. He carried his luggage and crossed the road when there were few cars. The woman in sunglasses was unwilling to give up and still wanted the traffic police to arrest Chen Feng. But the traffic police ignored her, and she was so angry that she could only stamp her feet. In order to stay away from this woman, he did not call a taxi here. He walked at least a few hundred meters before hailing a passing taxi. This time we finally arrived at the booked 5-star hotel smoothly. It's not the presidential suite, and it's not that Chen Feng is reluctant to spend money to stay there, but there is no such booking service online. But the luxury suite he booked was also very good, with a large space and very high-end decoration. More importantly, standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window and looking at the night view of the city outside the window gave it a very materialistic feel. The room rate of more than 7,000 yuan a night was equivalent to almost 2 months' salary for him. In the past, he never dreamed that he would be so extravagant and corrupt. But now he has tens of millions, and he doesn't feel bad at all when he spends it. Of course, this may also have something to do with the fact that he is about to die. If he didn't have a terminal illness, he wouldn't have spent it like this even if he had more than 10 million in savings. After standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window for a while, he went to take a shower and changed into clean clothes. Look at the time, it's almost 8 o'clock in the evening and my stomach is growling with hunger. I went to the bathroom to clean up first, then took the room card and went out. This 5-star hotel has a restaurant, and the buffet restaurant has good reviews online. It costs 588 yuan per person, and many people say it is worth it. I opened the door, went out, closed the door, and just a few steps towards the elevator, I met 2 women. "It's you? You really followed me," the woman shouted in horror. Sister E also looked at Chen Feng with vigilance and took a step forward to stand in front of the woman in sunglasses. Chapter 16. Is it really a coincidence? Chen Feng was completely confused at this moment. He really didn't expect it would be such a coincidence to meet them in the hotel. "Why are you following me? Was someone sent to you? Tell me and I won't call the police. Otherwise, I will have no choice but to call the police." The woman in sunglasses hid behind Sister E and threatened. "I live in this hotel, 5032. And I arrived here earlier than you, and took a shower and changed clothes. Does this count as stalking?" It was indeed a coincidence, so Chen Feng explained it. Then, he ignored them, walked past them and left. Only after watching Chen Feng walk away did the 2 women relax. Zhang Jingwen, the woman wearing sunglasses, patted her chest gently and asked, "Sister E, do you want to call the police to arrest him?" Wang Yui frowned slightly and said, "It must be a coincidence. You may have misunderstood him." Sister E, in the past half day, no, in more than an hour, I have already met him 3 times in different places. First, he bumped into my back on the plane on purpose, which caught my attention. Then he followed me and asked the taxi driver to hit our car. Now, I unexpectedly met him here again. How could such a coincidence happen in the world? He must have been following me. Wang Yui shook her head and said, "It must have been an accident on the plane. The rear-end collision had nothing to do with him. The driver was from Beijing, and the man staying at the hotel was definitely not from here. They should have no connection. Besides, the previous rear-end collision was caused by a wildcat that suddenly jumped out of the road, causing me to brake suddenly. It couldn't have been premeditated. The hotel here was even more of a coincidence. I asked Xiao Liu to book this hotel. How could he have found out that you were going to stay there? Impossible. Is it really a coincidence?" Zhang Jingwen still expressed doubt. He might want to get to know me on purpose, to create an opportunity to pursue me, to trick me, to cheat me of money and sex. Do you think this is possible? Wang Yui rolled her eyes and said, "Look at how fat he is, and he looks to be in his 30s. How could that be possible? I don't think he had any intention of getting to know you, so how could he trick you? It's even more impossible for him to cheat you out of money or sex, and you're not that stupid." Zhang Jingwen nodded in agreement. "That's true. I'm not that stupid. The person who wants to trick me hasn't been born yet. Wang Yui resisted the urge to roll her eyes again, said, "Let's go," and led the way to continue walking. What a coincidence. Their room number is 5031, which is just opposite Chen Feng's room. Seeing this room number and thinking of the room number Chen Feng reported before, Zhang Jingwen became uneasy again. "Sister E, you just heard it too. He said he lives in 5032, just opposite us. Isn't this too much of a coincidence?" Wang Yui couldn't help but waver in her previous inference, but still shook her head and said, "Impossible. I don't think he is a bad person at first glance." Zhang Jingwen curled her lips and said, "Bad guys won't have the word bad guys written on their faces. We'd better be careful. Tomorrow you can ask the company to send me 2 reliable bodyguards." Wang Yui smiled bitterly and said, "If you do this, people will say you are too pretentious." Zhang Jingwen said unhappily, "They are so great, they can learn from me if they have the ability. They only know how to gossip behind my back, what a loser." Okay. I'll contact the company tomorrow. However, you only stay here for 1 day and go back tomorrow. Is that necessary? Safety first. All right. Chen Feng found the buffet and had a delicious meal. He felt it was worth it. He ate almost a pound of salmon and drank a large bottle of top-quality champagne, which cost more than 100 yuan. He also ate a lot of other seafood such as scallops, prawns, and abalone. You can also take as many fruits and cherries as you want. If you eat just these as much as you want, your money will definitely pay off. I returned to the room, lay on the bed, turned on the TV and watched it for a while out of boredom, then started checking my phone. He has been very depressed and a bit withdrawn in the past 2 years. He has almost no friends to contact and rarely posts on WeChat moments. I don't play games, I just like to read online novels and watch short videos. He was just watching short videos when he heard a ding-dong sound. Someone actually sent him a WeChat message. Exit the short video and open WeChat. It's a message from the wild girl Qin Shero. "Why don't you contact me? As a grown man, how can we girls contact you on our own initiative?" Chen Feng felt a headache when he saw this wild girl. He didn't want to pay any attention to her and just pretended he didn't see her. He continued to watch short videos, and within a few minutes, there was another ding-dong sound. Chen Feng ignored it, and then there was another ding-dong sound soon after. Chen Feng had no choice but to open WeChat again. "You're not here? I know you are here. It's been so long, I don't believe you don't check your phone. Hurry up and reply to me, or I will be angry." Seeing this, Chen Feng had no choice but to reply. "I was taking a shower just now, what's the matter? That's a lame excuse. Can't I come to you if I have nothing to do?" As expected, she still has the bad temper of a wild girl. Chen Feng had a headache. "I need to coax my daughter to sleep. If you have nothing else, I'll contact you next time." "Do you have a daughter?" "Yes, 3 years old." After a while, she replied, "Okay, coax your daughter." Chen Feng smiled slightly when he saw this, and he didn't think it was bad to lie to this wild girl. In fact, this wild girl had a bad temper, and he was not her father, so he really didn't have time to chat with her. Next, Chen Feng watched short videos comfortably until 11 o'clock, without any WeChat harassment, and then went to sleep, staying up all night. I set the alarm for 6 o'clock, got up, and went to the hotel restaurant for free breakfast, which was very sumptuous. After breakfast, I took a bus to Shuangyan Hospital. I easily found a ticket scalper at the hospital entrance and bought the specialist number I wanted. I waited in line, underwent various examinations, and then, if nothing unexpected happened, the medical equipment in this hospital was likely to break down. Chen Feng took the brain tumor diagnosis and once again received a death sentence from an expert. He successfully became depressed and left in a hurry. "This is a shitty hospital. I will never come here again." Chen Feng got into a taxi at the door and said to the driver, "Just take a drive." The driver happily said, "Okay," and started to stroll around the city happily at a fairly fast pace. The purpose was of course to make more money. Chen Feng leaned against the back seat of the car with his eyes closed, his mind empty and letting his thoughts drift. This diagnosis from Shuangyan Hospital completely dispelled Chen Feng's hopeful mentality. This was a terminal illness. In the few days left, Chen Feng decided to go back to his hometown first. After all, his parents are still alive, and he hasn't gone back for the holidays in the past 2 years, which is really unfilial. If I were to pass away, my parents would definitely be sad, but fortunately I still have an older brother who would be able to see them off to the end of their lives in the future. Just as I was thinking about this, I heard the taxi driver yell, "Fuck," and then there was a bang and the car body shook. Damn, another rear-end collision. Where is my good luck? Is it that after selling the sheep goal, my good luck has come to an end? Chapter 17. Do you believe it yourself? Zhang Jingwen ate the sumptuous breakfast delivered to her hotel room, and then waited for the 2 bodyguards sent by the company to arrive before going out with her agent Wen Yue. I got in the car sent by the company. It was a bit low-end, worth less than 1 million, but still acceptable. We arrived at Beijing TV station at about 9:30, half an hour earlier than agreed. The program will be officially recorded in the studio at 10 o'clock. It is a program about commentary, introduction and reviews of film and television dramas. Zhang Jingwen is an actress who has just made her debut. She starred in a fantasy drama, Dream of Fairyland, which is about to be broadcast on TV, and she came here to promote it. This episode of the program is about introducing Dream of Fairyland. As their heroine, Zhang Jingwen will talk about some interesting stories about the filming and behind-the-scenes footage in the program. The program was recorded smoothly. We left the TV station around noon and took a car back to the hotel. Then, the car she was riding in was rear-ended again. This time the driver was not the female driver Sister E, but a driver and bodyguard sent by the company. He drove very steadily and did not brake suddenly. In the end, he was rear-ended. Even though it wasn't her car, she was sitting in it, and it had been rear-ended twice in a row. What luck! How do you drive? A bodyguard on the passenger seat got out of the car and angrily knocked on the taxi door. This was the company's car, driven by the 2 bodyguards who served as drivers. Even though they didn't have to pay for the repairs, they would inevitably be reprimanded by their supervisor when they returned. The taxi driver was obviously distracted just now. He didn't maintain a safe distance and was driving too fast, so he didn't have time to brake. Get out of here! The bodyguard was very angry and banged on the car window. The taxi driver was about to give in, but when he saw how arrogant the man was, and thought about how he was fully responsible this time, he got hot-headed and took out a wrench from the storage box, opened the door and got out of the car. Why the hell are you taking pictures? It's just a rear-end collision, the driver shook the wrench in his hand and retorted. Seeing that the driver was more arrogant than himself, the bodyguard punched him in the face. Before the driver could react, he was knocked to the ground and the wrench in his hand was taken away. When Chen Feng saw that the man was going to beat the driver, he immediately opened the car door and shouted, "Stop! If you continue, it will be too much." The bodyguard glared at Chen Feng and said, "It's none of your business. Sit back. This is a taxi. Besides the taxi driver, there are of course passengers." The bodyguards did not target Chen Feng. However, seeing Chen Feng getting out of the car, the other bodyguard in the front driver's seat also hurriedly got out to prevent his companion from suffering. If you let him go now, we can still resolve it peacefully. If you don't let him go and continue to fight, it will be a public security incident. This is just an ordinary traffic accident. Of course Chen Feng would not be frightened by these 2 people, and he calmly tried to persuade them. The driver who was pinned to the ground took the opportunity to surrender. "Brother, I was reckless just now. Let me go, and I will pretend nothing happened." After the 2 bodyguards exchanged glances, they let go of the taxi driver. The taxi driver indeed behaved himself and took the initiative to say that he was fully responsible for the rear-end collision and immediately called the insurance company to claim compensation. Zhang Jingwen, who was sitting in the back seat of the car, said to Wen Yue in a depressed tone, "I've been really unlucky these past 2 days." Wen Yue was also depressed. She had rear-ended 2 cars in a row. This was bad luck. Get off. Let's get a taxi back. Yesterday the 2 of them stayed together to deal with the accident, but a lot of time was wasted. They weren't driving this time, and they certainly don't want it to happen again. That's all I can do. Fortunately, I'm not famous yet, otherwise I would definitely be on the hot search list. You think too much. The 2 women got out of the car and then they saw Chen Feng. They widened their eyes almost at the same time and shouted, "Fuck," in their hearts. They are women who should be reserved, and they would never say these 2 words out loud. "Why you again? Who are you? Why are you following me?" With two bodyguards present, Zhang Jingwen became much bolder. She took the initiative to step forward, stared at Chen Feng, and questioned him loudly. Now, even when Yui began to doubt Chen Feng. The first, second and third times are coincidences, but it's impossible that the fourth and fifth times are also coincidences, right? How could there be so many coincidences happening in a row? At this moment, Chen Feng could only use the two words, fuck, to describe his mood. This is really too much of a coincidence. But this time, even I know that my claim of coincidence is not convincing. What? Can't you find an excuse? Didn't you say yesterday that it was all a coincidence? Tell me the truth, are you my stalker? He looked ferocious at first, but at the end, his eyes lit up slightly and he looked at Chen Feng with implicit expectation. Issue fan. Chen Feng said he didn't understand. Zhang Jingwen nodded repeatedly, yes, illegitimate fans. That is to say, fans who are crazy about their idols. I think you are this kind of person, right? Although I hate people like you, I have to say that you are quite discerning. I have only debuted for a few months, and you saw my potential at a glance, knowing that I will become a big star in the future. However, I still have to say that your behavior is very undesirable. If you like me, please carry out support activities properly. Don't follow me, and don't interfere with my private life. Otherwise, I will be very angry and even call the police to arrest you directly. Do you understand? Chen Feng had a lot of question marks in his head and shook his head directly. I'm not your illegitimate fan. Whether you believe it or not, I can only say that these few times are really coincidences. So many times in a row are just coincidences, do you believe it? Zhang Jingwen looked at him with disdain. Even when Yui shook her head secretly. She had been deceived before and believed that what he said was just a coincidence. But now, even a 3-year-old child wouldn't believe it if you said it was just a coincidence. Chen Feng shook his head awkwardly. He just didn't believe me when I told him the truth. Would he believe me if I lied and said I was your illegitimate fan? Chen Feng was helpless. Okay. I know you have concerns, and you're afraid that if I admit it, I'll look down on you, or call the police to arrest you. Don't worry, as long as you don't stalk me or harass me anymore, I'll forgive you. Do you want an autograph? Taking a photo with you is also fine. Seeing her eager smile, Chen Feng thought for a moment and decided to let her be a stalker to avoid trouble. Otherwise, this woman with a mental problem might really call the police. So, Chen Feng nodded subconsciously and smiled honestly, thank you very much. Where to sign? Zhang Jingwen swiftly took out a pen from her small bag, with a smile on her face and an anxious look in her eyes. Chen Feng felt his upper and lower pockets and found nothing. Finally, he made up his mind and put on a good show. He opened his jacket, turned around and said, please sign the back of my shirt. He was wearing a jacket and shirt. Zhang Jingwen was even more satisfied when she saw him like this. Only die-hard fans would be willing to do this, willing to use clothes to get their idol to sign, this is true love. Okay, squat down a little. Chen Feng half squatted down. Zhang Jingwen opened his jacket, picked up the pen and quickly wrote her 3 signature words in a flamboyant style on the back of his white shirt. She has been practicing her artistic signature for a long time, and today she finally officially debuted it. At this moment, Zhang Jingwen felt like she was already a big star. Chapter 18 Rational Fans. Alright. Zhang Jingwen put away her signature pen, feeling a great sense of accomplishment. Do you want to take a photo? Zhang Jingwen asked generously. Chen Feng wanted to say no, but in the end he nodded and said, of course. So Chen Feng took out his phone and took a photo with her. Zhang Jingwen took the initiative to move closer to him and made a scissors hand gesture. Thanks. Chen Feng put away his phone and prepared to leave. Zhang Jingwen smiled and nodded, just support me properly from now on, otherwise I'll be angry. By the way, what's your name? Chen Feng thought about it and directly said his name, Chen Feng. Well, that's it. I wish you a happy life. Although Zhang Jingwen is very happy to have a loyal fan like Chen Feng, and is very friendly to him, it is impossible for her to have too deep a chat with him, and she still needs to maintain a proper distance. So, she didn't talk much with Chen Feng. After she finished speaking, she left with Wang Yui. Chen Feng secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw her leave. This woman was too self-righteous and took things for granted. Well, she also had a rich imagination. She actually imagined that he was her illegitimate fan. How narcissistic she must be. Chen Feng didn't even know who she was, so how could he be her fan? And he was the kind of fan who was crazy about her. I can only say that she really thought too much. However, it would be hard to explain if she didn't follow her idea and called the police, assuming that he was following her and doing something wrong. Now he sacrificed a white shirt worth dozens of dollars and was able to get rid of the trouble that this woman might bring, which was worth it. Chen Feng is not short of money now, so he doesn't feel bad about wearing this white shirt that he has worn for 2 or 3 years. After giving the taxi driver 100 yuan, no more and no less, Chen Feng took another taxi and left. This time, he went straight back to their hotel and had a smooth journey. After going up to the 5th floor of their hotel and entering his room smoothly, Chen Feng finally relaxed without meeting that woman again. First, take off your clothes and change the signed white shirt. I casually took a look at the woman's signature. It was written very artistically, but I could still tell it was Zhang Jingwen. Chen Feng changed his clothes, picked up his phone and searched it. There really is an 18th-tier artist like Zhang Jingwen who has just debuted not long ago. The main reports are about the upcoming fairy tale drama Xianyuan Meng, in which Zhang Jingwen is the heroine. There are promotional photos of her in which she is dressed in ancient costume and looks really beautiful. It's just that the image is very different from the modern look in reality, which may be because the photo editing is too obvious. After reading a few reports, Chen Feng lost interest and closed it. On the other side, Zhang Jingwen and Wang Yui returned to their hotel room a few minutes later than Chen Feng. Wang Yui couldn't help but ask, "Are you so sure that person is your illegitimate fan?" "Of course." Zhang Jingwen said in an unquestionable tone. He admitted it himself. "He started following me in Suzhou. He took the same flight as me to Beijing. When we were queuing to get off the plane, he deliberately stood behind me and bumped into me. However, he was still quite polite. I remember that he only bumped my back, and the force was not very strong. You know what happened next? He must have bribed the taxi driver to rear-end the car twice to attract my attention. He also got the information that I was staying in this hotel and stayed opposite our room. I can only say that I am too charming and this person has put a lot of effort into it. So, I don't really hate him." Wang Yui still hesitated, "But I don't think he is a fan at all. At least when facing you, his idol, he is very calm and doesn't show any excitement at all." "Well, he should be a rational fan, not an impulsive one." Wang Yui said with a smile, "If he is a rational fan, then he is even less likely to be a Sasaeng fan." Zhang Jingwen was unhappy. He admitted it himself. How could it not be true? Otherwise, why would he go to such great lengths to follow me? Is he a pervert? Wang Yui looked at Zhang Jingwen, who was a little angry, and after hesitating for a long time, she decided to shatter her self-fantasy. "You debuted in May this year, and it's only been more than 5 months now. In addition to starring in Xianyuan Meng, you have only released a single with mediocre results, and also filmed 2 provincial TV commercials and a print ad. No one knows you at all. How could you have fans, and even Sasaeng fans? You're talking nonsense. Although my single didn't do well, I still have fans who like me. After the 2 TV commercials were aired, the results were very good. Many people said that I was beautiful in the commercials. How could I not have fans?" Zhang Jingwen was really angry and glared at Wang Yui angrily. Wang Yui couldn't help but smile bitterly when she saw her like this. "I'm not trying to undermine your self-confidence, I just think that sometimes you're a little too arrogant. You need to be steady, understand? You haven't officially become famous yet, that's it. If you wait until you become famous, won't you become arrogant? This is not good, and you will be targeted by many people. After Dream of Immortal Fate is broadcast, you will definitely be famous, at least you will be listed in the 3rd-tier ranks, or even the 2nd tier. So, I must remind you in advance. You must also remember that you must not be arrogant." Zhang Jingwen said a little aggrievedly, "Isn't he just a stalker? Why are you so proud? Besides, the guy himself admitted it. Did he lie to me on purpose? There's no point in lying about such a thing. When I signed, he even asked me to sign on his back. This can't be fake, right?" Wang Yui shook her head and said, "I think he was probably afraid that you would call the police, so he just followed your wishes and admitted that he was a stalker. You forgot that he denied it at first. He is." Zhang Jingwen still couldn't accept that Chen Feng was not her illegitimate fan. Zhang Jingwen is naturally beautiful and has been charming since childhood. She is a natural star, as bright as a firefly in the dark night. Although she is not famous now, she is targeted by some people and becomes her fan, even a stalker fan. Isn't it normal? Okay. If you think he is, then that's it. Wang Yui knew her stubbornness and didn't want to argue with her on this matter, so she could only go along with her and say, just treat him as a stalker. You still have to be on your guard in the future. For example, you're going back to Shuzhou this afternoon. If he follows you again, call the police immediately. I don't think so. I told him. Anyway, just be careful. If I hadn't been busy here, I would have gone back with you this time. Don't worry, Shuzhou is my territory. Xiao Liu and Uncle Ma came to pick me up. If this guy continues to follow me, I will make him suffer in a minute. I will not tolerate him anymore. Private fans are actually very annoying. Other stars hate private fans the most. For safety reasons, I'll change your flight. It was originally scheduled for 3:30 p.m., but I'll change it to 5:30 p.m. Okay, no problem. Chapter 19. What's going on? After returning to the hotel, Chen Feng felt a little dizzy. He lay down on the bed to rest and fell asleep soon. He has been like this since he was a child, and even though he now has a terminal illness, after a period of decadence and despair, he has finally let it go. Life is short and no one can avoid death. It is just a matter of dying early or late. Well, dying later is definitely better than dying earlier. But there is no other way. Chen Feng has no choice but to let it go. Next, he will eat and sleep. When he woke up, it was almost 3:30. Therefore, Chen Feng could only book the nearest flight at 5:30, still in first class. It's not that he wants to be extravagant, but he is in a hurry. Except for the first class cabin, there are no empty seats in other cabins. He had booked the flight and was hungry, but he hadn't had lunch yet. I'm almost dying, so I must eat well. He immediately packed his luggage, went downstairs to check out, and hailed a taxi at the hotel entrance. Master, take me to the most authentic restaurant. It doesn't matter if it's a little expensive, as long as it's not too far away. This is your tip, and the car fare is extra. Chen Feng directly handed a Red Bull to the taxi driver. The driver happily agreed, started the car and immediately took Chen Feng to a restaurant a few kilometers away. It is said to be a Michelin 3-star restaurant serving Japanese cuisine. Chen Feng had only eaten Korean food before and had never eaten Japanese food, so he came here to try it. The store is located in a commercial district where every inch of land is valuable. The decoration of the entrance is very exquisite, with an all-wooden grey facade with a minimalist and exquisite style. The layout of the entrance, porch, small pond, etc. is quite artistic. However, Chen Feng was not interested in these. He went straight into the restaurant and ordered a set meal of 10 dishes according to the waiter's introduction. After waiting for about 10 minutes, various dishes were served one after another, which made Chen Feng stare. He had heard before that the portions of each dish in Japanese cuisine were small, but he didn't expect it to be so small. The first dish was radish puree and puffer fish roe, which was actually a soup made of white radish and puffer fish roe. The bowl was quite big, but there was only a little soup in it. Chen Feng picked up the soup spoon and slurped it up in a few scoops. Finally, he picked up the big square bowl and drank it all. The portion is not much, but the taste is really good. Then the dishes were served one by one. After finishing 10 dishes, Chen Feng was only 3/4 full. But the price was nearly 2,000 yuan. Most people can't afford this price. One meal here is enough for an average family's food expenses for a month. Therefore, Chen Feng did not intend to continue to be ripped off. Although the taste was good, it was far from giving him a sense of value for money, especially since he was only 3/4 full after eating 10 dishes. Table 25, please pay the bill. Chen Feng walked to the counter and prepared to pay. The beautiful kimono lady at the counter operated the machine for a while, then suddenly covered her mouth with her hand and said in surprise, "Sir, you won the prize." Oh my god! What's going on? Chen Feng was stunned. How could I win a prize just by having a meal? The kimono lady immediately explained Chen Feng's confusion. "Sir, you are the 8,888th customer of our restaurant. Today's order is free, and our restaurant will give you a VIP card. You can enjoy a 20% discount when you come to patronize next time. Is it possible?" Even though Chen Feng was mentally prepared, he was still surprised. What luck? Yes, sir, you are so lucky. The young lady in kimono covered her mouth and chuckled. At this time, a man with glasses behind him looked at Chen Feng with envy. My friend, you are so lucky. I come here to eat every week, but I never have such a good thing. If I had come here to pay the bill 1 minute earlier, this grand prize would have been mine. The young woman next to him was in a similar situation, with a look of envy and regret. It was just a little bit different. If they had been there 1 minute in the morning, or Chen Feng had been there 1 minute in the evening, the grand prize would have been theirs. Chen Feng didn't say much, just smiled. Then, the young lady called the restaurant manager and personally issued him a VIP card, and of course the meal was free. VIP cards don't matter. Chen Feng probably won't come here to eat again in the future. Chen Feng likes free meals. Although he is not short of money, he is not averse to eating and drinking for free. When I came out of the restaurant, there was still an hour before the flight took off, so I called a taxi and arrived exactly 15 minutes early. I was the last one to board the plane and made my way to the first-class cabin. Under the guidance of the beautiful stewardess, I sat in my first-class seat. Just as he put his luggage bag away, he heard a cry of surprise from the side. Why are you here again? Why are you following me? Chen Feng turned his head and saw Zhang Jingwen's shocked and angry face. What the hell? Chen Feng immediately felt like he had been screwed. How many times has this happened? Isn't this just a deliberate trick? Young women like Zhang Jingwen, although beautiful and with a standard internet celebrity face, are not his type at all. Why does he keep arranging for me to meet her by chance? Chen Feng felt like he was being played, as if an invisible hand was pulling him like a puppet, making him unconsciously have good luck one after another, which now seemed to include romantic luck. But with a woman like Zhang Jingwen, it is very likely that this is a bad love relationship. Chen Feng thought, if you want to have fun and arrange for me to meet a woman frequently, you have to pair me with a style I like. Why pair me with Zhang Jingwen? What's wrong with you? Didn't I tell you before? If you follow me again, I will be very angry and even call the police to arrest you. When she saw someone looking at them, Zhang Jingwen leaned over, lowered her voice, and said these words with a bad look on her face. Chen Feng was helpless and could understand her misunderstanding. No one would think it was a coincidence if they encountered this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I promise I won't harass you. Just pretend I don't exist. What else could Chen Feng say? He could only apologize and admit defeat. She was completely right in this matter. As long as he called the police, he would be in trouble. What's more, Chen Feng had already seen that this woman was no ordinary person. She was always in a luxurious room and had bodyguards with her. How could she be easy to mess with? He was about to die, and he didn't want to waste his remaining time on unnecessary trouble. Zhang Jingwen had always valued Chen Feng, her hard-earned illegitimate fan. In addition to following her and deliberately causing rear-end collisions twice, he did not do anything to harass her, and was relatively civilized and rational. Besides, people spend so much time, energy and money just to pursue her, an idol who is not yet famous. This in itself is actually very touching. More importantly, he hasn't done anything too outrageous, at least so far. Therefore, seeing that Chen Feng admitted his mistake with a good attitude, Zhang Jingwen's anger immediately subsided. People are always like this, finding it hard to be cruel to someone who loves them wholeheartedly. Okay, I'll give you one more chance. After you get off the plane this time, don't follow me again. Otherwise, I will really call the police. Thank you, I won't do that again. Chen Feng made a hasty assurance. Well, remember what you said. Zhang Jingwen was very satisfied with Chen Feng's attitude. After giving him a warning, she returned to her seat with a sense of satisfaction and a queen's mentality. Chapter 20, A Man Has No Problems with Having a Wife. Chen Feng secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He had encountered this woman by chance so many times that he had no way of distinguishing himself from her. If this woman really wanted to find fault with him, it would be troublesome. I thought to myself that after returning to Shuzhou this time, I would immediately pack up and go back to my hometown, so that I wouldn't be able to meet him by chance then. I sat down on the seat, lay down, and the plane took off soon after. Chen Feng had just closed his eyes when he heard Zhang Jingwen, who was sitting next to him, come over and ask, "Tell me, how did you get my flight information?" Do you have any acquaintances in the airline? Chen Feng was too weak to complain after hearing this. He was just an ordinary citizen and did not have such powerful acquaintances and connections. He did not want to answer but was afraid that he would be in trouble after getting off the plane. Both denial and affirmative answers were inappropriate. Zhang Jingwen would definitely not believe him if he denied it, but he would not be able to admit it either, because regardless of whether it was legal or not, it would confirm that he had bad intentions towards her by prying into her privacy. Chen Feng thought about it and could only say, I only found out that you were on this flight, but I didn't find out your specific seat. It's just a coincidence that I happened to sit next to you. Really? Zhang Jingwen was a little unconvinced. Really? I don't have any friends who work for the airline. I just called the airport customer service and asked about your flight. After Chen Feng's explanation, Zhang Jingwen was able to accept it reluctantly. But then she asked, where are you from? Chen Feng thought about it and answered honestly, Lu City. Oh, Lu City, I have a classmate who is also from Lu City. It's just that we haven't been in touch for a long time. However, since you are from Lu City, you took the plane back to Suzhou. You are really persistent in chasing stars. At the end, Zhang Jingwen looked at Chen Feng with a strange and complicated expression. He looked okay, but a little fat and older. He is not dressed normally, but he should have some money, otherwise he wouldn't be willing to fly first class or stay in a 5-star hotel. After hearing what she said, Chen Feng could only explain awkwardly, I work in Suzhou. Is that so? Zhang Jingwen didn't believe it, but she didn't ask further questions. Instead, she tried to persuade him earnestly, then you should work hard when you go back. Just chase after celebrities and support them appropriately, but don't be my illegitimate fan anymore. That will only make me hate you and even call the police to arrest you. Got it. What else could Chen Feng say? He could only be a qualified fan and nodded, yeah. I understand. I will definitely not do that again in the future. Zhang Jingwen nodded with satisfaction and lay back in her seat. After that, the two of them walked in silence. While waiting to get off the plane, the two of them didn't say goodbye to each other. Chen Feng was too lazy to say anything, and Zhang Jingwen was afraid that Chen Feng would misunderstand. Chen Feng waited until the last minute to get off the plane. In order to avoid a possible rear-end collision with Zhang Jingwen again, he deliberately lingered at the airport for more than 10 minutes before calling an online taxi. This time I got back to the rental house smoothly, took a shower, changed clothes, and made dinner. It was already a bit late tonight, so it was not a good time to go back home. Chen Feng booked a flight for tomorrow and sent a voice message to his mother Zhao Xiaolan on WeChat that night, saying that he would go back to his hometown to stay for a while tomorrow. Mom quickly asked him what was going on. Chen Feng did not deliberately hide the fact of his divorce. Besides, he couldn't hide it, so he just said it directly. There was silence on the other end for a long time, more than half an hour later, before their voice message came back. Oh, you, Mom, doesn't he know what to say to you? I originally thought it was Shenlin who proposed it, but it turned out to be you. What's the matter with you? Do you still dislike her? You are working like a half-dead person now. Shenlin has a good career and an iron rice bowl. She doesn't dislike you, but you burn incense and you still dislike her? Apparently my mother asked Shenlin, and Shenlin put all the responsibility on him. However, this is basically true. The divorce was initiated by him. Mom, it's not that I dislike her, it's that she dislikes me for becoming a middle-aged greasy man with no ambition and no future. In short, he just doesn't like me anymore. Anyway, in the past 2 years, our relationship has become weaker and weaker. Apart from living in the same house, we basically have no communication. Being together like this makes both of us tired, so we might as well break up early. What Chen Feng said is also the basic truth. He will not deliberately belittle himself and take the initiative to shoulder all the responsibilities for the divorce on himself. Okay, you've already divorced, what else can you do? At the beginning, I thought you were marrying above your station, and I was afraid you couldn't keep her. Sure enough, you're getting divorced after just over 2 years. Alas. Your work is like this now, it would be good for you to come back and live here for a while. Let's talk about it after you come back. Zhao Xiaolan was obviously very tired, but she also knew that her son must be very upset, so she didn't say anything more. It seemed that the matter was temporarily resolved. But after returning home, I can't avoid being nagged for a while. Later that night, his elder brother Chen Rui called him and talked to him for more than 10 minutes. He mainly consoled him, saying things like, a man should have no trouble finding a wife, and there are plenty of beautiful women in the world. The relationship between the two brothers is still pretty good, but as they get older, they rarely see each other in recent years. They also have wives and children, so they communicate less and less. In recent years, the two brothers have only contacted each other on WeChat during the holidays. Normally, I don't make many phone calls unless there is something important. However, no matter what, they are brothers, and even if their bones are broken, they are still connected. Moreover, there is no conflict between the two brothers, and they still care about each other in their hearts. This time, his brother called him and talked to him for more than 10 minutes. Chen Feng felt warm in his heart. In one's lifetime, in the end, the only people who can truly treat you well and care about you unconditionally are probably your family members. Sometimes couples are very reliable, and sometimes they are just so-so. Many divorced couples regard each other as enemies. Chen Feng and Shen Lin are relatively good, as they broke up peacefully, and Chen Feng has nothing to complain about. The next day, Chen Feng drove to a large shopping mall to do a big sweep, buying clothes for his parents, health products, gifts for his brother and sister-in-law, and gifts for his two little nieces. After buying these, Chen Feng drove to Fumanlu for dinner. The Cantonese cuisine here is very good. Chen Feng had eaten here twice before when he followed the company leaders to entertain clients, and he has always been thinking about it. A few days ago, he certainly couldn't bear to pay for his own meals, but now that was no longer a problem. After parking the car, we came to Fumanlu. Its antique architectural style, large plaques, and flying eaves and corners make it unique on this street. She completely ignored the two beautiful receptionists in slit kyongsams at the door, strode in and walked towards the counter. Hey! Hey! Uncle! Suddenly, the wild girl Qin Shero rushed over from the side, blocked his way and looked at him with surprise. Chapter 21 There is no afterlife. Seeing Qin Shero suddenly appear in front of him, Chen Feng was stunned. This time it wasn't a chance encounter with Zhang Jingwen, but a chance encounter with Qin Shero. He didn't have much of a good impression of Qin Shero. She had a bad temper, loved to talk back, and was rude. Of course, he couldn't say he hated her either. Why are you here? After all, they knew each other, so Chen Feng just asked casually. Am I weird here? Qin Shero is indeed born to talk back. Chen Feng asked again, are you here with your family? Qin Shero finally spoke nicely and nodded, yes. With my mother and a bunch of fake adults, I was bored staying in the private room, so I came out to sit in their hall. I didn't expect to see you as soon as I sat down. Isn't it a coincidence? Chen Feng could only nod truthfully, it's quite a coincidence. So, uncle, are you here to have dinner with someone? Take me with you. This wild girl is quite rude and shameless. Isn't your mom eating there? Why are you coming with me? Of course Chen Feng didn't want to be with her and refused immediately. Qin Shero said dissatisfiedly, didn't I just tell you? I don't want to eat with those adults. Am I not an adult too? You're not that stingy. Qin Shero pouted and glared, I treated you to a drink last time. I also helped you win the lottery. Can't you treat me to a meal together? That's true. Qin Shero was not unreasonable, and asked, are you eating with a lot of people? Chen Feng looked at her innocent face, and then thought about the last time she treated him to a drink and really helped him win the prize, so he really couldn't tell a lie. No, I eat alone. Chen Feng finally told the truth. What? You're eating alone? Qin Shero couldn't help but widen her eyes. As we all know, Fumanlu is a restaurant for banquets, and there is a minimum consumption requirement. You can't just come here and order 2 or 3 dishes. Is it weird that I eat alone? Chen Feng asked back, imitating her tone. Qin Shero laughed and said, Uncle, I was right about you. You are indeed a great man. After saying that, Qin Shero gave Chen Feng a thumbs up. Let's go. Book a private room. Since he couldn't get rid of it, he might as well take it with him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to finish all the delicious food on the table, which would be a bit of a waste. Besides, he will be going back to his hometown in the afternoon, and I don't know how much time he will have left. I don't know if we will be able to meet again in the future. Book a private room, a private seat on the second floor. Taking the menu, Chen Feng ordered a few dishes that he had been thinking about twice before, so he was very familiar with it and handed them to Qin Xiero. She ordered a few dishes without hesitation. Would you like to drink? Mao Tai or Wu Liangyi is fine. Don't save money for me. Chen Feng teased deliberately. Qin Xiero rolled her eyes and said, Can I take it away? If I can, I'll order 2 bottles of Feiqian. Chen Feng didn't want to be taken advantage of, so he shook his head and said, You can't take me away. Forget it, I'll give you 2 bottles of juice. No juice, just a big bottle of Sprite. Then I'll have a Coke. After the waiter left, Qin Xiero quickly said, I sent you a WeChat message yesterday, why didn't you reply? Don't you think it's a bit too much? Chen Feng was a little embarrassed. It was indeed wrong not to reply to WeChat messages. Moreover, this girl seemed to have sent messages several times, but Chen Feng was too lazy to read them. The main reason was that he thought they were just casual acquaintances and would never meet again until he died. Who knew they would meet here and be caught red-handed? I've been in a bad mood these past 2 days. I've basically cut off contact with the outside world. What Chen Feng said was not a lie. Qin Xiero asked bluntly, Are you divorced or is your wife having an affair? Otherwise, why would you come here alone to order food? Chen Feng's face darkened immediately after hearing this, and he said unhappily, You are such a foul-mouthed girl. Qin Xiero laughed and said, Did I get it right? Chen Feng glared at her, and finally said, Divorced. Why? Is your wife having an affair? Qin Xiero looked like a curious baby. Chen Feng glared at her again. If he had met such a brat who was outspoken in the past, he would have definitely lost his temper and chased her away. But now his tolerance was very high because he was about to die. After the 2 of them had dinner together this time, it might be their last farewell. Therefore, he could be said to tolerate her to the greatest extent. After all, knowing each other and meeting again was a matter of fate. The little girl was not afraid of him, and she changed her tone to persuade him softly, Just tell me, there are only 2 of us here, you will definitely feel better if you tell me. Chen Feng shook his head, There shouldn't be an affair. We just don't have feelings for each other anymore, so we want to part ways amicably. I was the one who took the initiative to file for divorce. Qin Xiero suddenly frowned and asked unhappily, What about your daughter? Chen Feng was stunned for a moment before he remembered the lie he had told on WeChat last time. After this, it would be a farewell forever. Chen Feng didn't want to continue lying to her, so he confessed, I don't have any children. I just said it casually last time. Qin Xiero stared at him with an unfriendly look, which actually brought a little pressure to Chen Feng. Chen Feng coughed dryly, and quickly changed the subject and asked, Why did your mother bring you here to eat today? Qin Xiero's attention was successfully diverted. She frowned and said, She is going out for a social event. Bringing me along makes her look closer to others. There are many men and women, but I am the only junior. How can I eat comfortably? Chen Feng thought about it and nodded, That's right. Your mother is not doing the right thing. Next time, just tell her that you don't want to have dinner with so many adults. I think your mother won't take you out for social events anymore. What do you know? Qin Xiero glared at Chen Feng unceremoniously, My mother is very stubborn. She requires me to obey her unconditionally and not have my own ideas. It's no use telling her. Too careless. After all, it was a matter between a mother and daughter, so Chen Feng, as an outsider, couldn't say anything. He could only nod awkwardly and change the subject again, asking, What year are you in this year? 2nd grade. What do you mean by that look? Do I think you're in the 2nd grade? This wild girl is so rude. I can bear it. I'm in the 3rd year of junior high school. I'll take their high school entrance exam next year. After the exam, I might go abroad to study. I can't say for sure. Going abroad in high school? Aren't you too young? Chen Feng asked with concern. Qin Xiero raised her chin and said, What's the big deal? Many children are sent abroad directly after elementary school. If they are not sent abroad, they are sent to international schools. Some are sent abroad after elementary school, or they apply for foreign universities directly after high school. You don't know all this, do you? Despised. I can bear it. But we can't send you abroad alone, right? Is there anyone in your family going there to study with you? Chen Xiao pursed her lips and said gloomily, my dad is over there. Chen Feng understood immediately. His mother was in China and his father was abroad. How could their relationship be good? They were probably divorced a long time ago. Just when I was thinking about whether to say a few words of comfort, I heard Chen Xiao's cell phone ringing. Chen Xiao picked up the phone, took a look, and answered it with a helpless look on her face. After a few hums and ahs, she said, I met a friend, but he went to your place to eat. He just ate here. No, it was just the two of us, men, ordinary friends, not what you think. Okay, just the bread room across from you, Furong Hall. Putting away the phone, Chen Xiao looked at Chen Feng awkwardly. My mother may have misunderstood. She is a very strong person. If she says something unpleasant later, please give me some face and let her go. She is in menopause and has been single for several years. You know. Chen Feng was speechless. He put his hand on his forehead and was hesitating whether to move away when the door of the box was suddenly pushed open. A woman walked in angrily and was stunned when she saw Chen Feng sitting there. Chen Feng was also dumbfounded. It's you? It's you? Chapter 22. It's magical. The woman who came in was Liu Maijun, the new female boss of their Jinchuan company. Chen Feng never dreamed that she was Chen Xiao's mother. Similarly, Liu Maijun never dreamed that the person having dinner with her daughter would be Chen Feng, an employee of her own company. She had just been impressed 2 days before. You know each other. Chen Xiao was also very surprised at this time. Her mother actually knew the uncle. How is this possible? Chen Feng, how did you get to know Xiao Ru? Liu Maijun originally thought that the person Chen Xiao was talking about having dinner alone with her was a teenager of the same age, and that they were just eating together, which was a sign of premature love. Of course, she was very angry and worried, and came over in a hurry. But now she saw that it was Chen Feng. There was such a big age difference between them, so it was impossible for him to have anything to do with her daughter. In addition, Chen Feng had left a good impression on her before, so her anger disappeared. She was just curious, how did the two of them know each other? Before Chen Feng opened his mouth, Chen Xiao immediately said, we met online. We occasionally played games together online, and we got to know each other over time. We added each other on WeChat. Today is only the second time we've met in real life. Liu Maijun frowned and said, you still play games often. Didn't I tell you that the high school entrance exam will be coming soon, and you are not allowed to play games? Chen Xiao curled her lips slightly and said defensively, I haven't played for a long time. I'm tired of playing online games. Really? Liu Maijun was skeptical. Of course it's true. Chen Xiao answered frankly. She indeed doesn't play League of Legends anymore, but often goes to the arcade to play video games. Okay. Liu Maijun nodded, and finally turned to Chen Feng again and said, this is really a coincidence. I didn't expect you to know my daughter. I heard that you haven't been to work these 2 days. Are you really planning to resign? Chen Feng nodded, yes. Actually, I planned to resign 2 years ago, but I signed a 5-year contract with the company at that time. If I resign early, I have to pay a penalty. Now there are only 2 or 3 months left in the 5-year contract. If the company still doesn't agree, I can only delay until the end of the contract. Liu Maijun hesitated for a moment and then said, I have heard about your story from Lao Zhang. You were originally very capable, and the position of manager of the planning department was originally yours. But when Cao Kuan came to power, you were targeted and suppressed by him. Thanks to your report last time, Yang Jun could not escape, and what awaited him was prison. Therefore, I prefer you to be the manager of the planning department. As for Cao Kuan, he is now suspended pending investigation. If conclusive evidence is found, he will have to go to jail. Even if there is no evidence of a crime, he will be fired. Jinchuan has had negative profit growth for 2 consecutive years in the past 2 years, and he is to blame. Lao Zhang will take over the position of general manager. And Lao Zhang also thinks highly of you. Do you understand what I mean? Chen Feng looked calm and shook his head. Thank you for your kindness, Mr. Liu. But I really don't plan to continue doing this. Liu Maijun frowned immediately and was about to speak again, but was interrupted by Chen Xiao. Okay, Mom. We came here to eat, what are you talking about work? Also, since the uncle doesn't want to continue working, why are you forcing him to stay? Isn't that forcing him? Seeing this, Liu Maijun had no choice but to say, well, Chen Feng, you will be suspended with pay. I'll give you some time to think about it. If you still want to resign after a while, I'll let you do it. Thank you very much. Chen Feng didn't want to continue this topic. It didn't matter whether he resigned or not. He would not go to work. Since we all know each other, let's eat together. Let's go to my private room. Liu Maijun pointed outside. Although it seemed that Chen Feng and her daughter would not have anything going on, she still felt uneasy about leaving them alone in a room. Mom, we have already ordered the food here, why should we go to your place? I don't even know those friends of yours. Qin Shero glared at Liu Maijun with dissatisfaction. Okay then. Go over there early after you finish eating and don't disturb Chen Feng. Maybe because she saw that her daughter was really angry, and she believed that Chen Feng would never do anything to her daughter, she did not insist. Chen Feng, I'll be leaving first. You can eat slowly. Liu Maijun gave Chen Feng a warning look and finally went out. Really? You're annoying me even when I'm having a meal. I'm so annoyed. As soon as Liu Maijun left, Qin Shero became angry and felt that her mother had embarrassed her. She's just concerned about you. If you were my daughter, I would be worried if I knew you were having dinner alone with a man. Fuck you. Do you have a daughter this old? Taking advantage of me. Chen Feng smiled bitterly. Okay, do you want some water? Okay, pour me a glass. Qin Shero ordered him around rudely. Chen Feng picked up the kettle and poured a cup of boiling water for both of them. The water temperature was just right. After taking a sip, Qin Shero said, I didn't expect you to be from my mother's company. It's amazing. Chen Feng also found it magical, and seriously suspected that it was arranged by an invisible hand, just like his previous several chance encounters with Zhang Jingwen. You don't want to say anything? Seeing that Chen Feng didn't say anything, Qin Shero asked curiously again. What? You said you're my boss's daughter. No. Don't you think it's amazing? And my mother is so strong, you can see that. I come from a single-parent family, and there is a generation gap between her and me. Sometimes I sneak to the game hall because I'm too bored at home. I'm not one of those little bad girls. I have good grades. Seeing Qin Shero say so much at once, Chen Feng felt a little amused, but he didn't show it on his face at all. You're right. We met by chance in the game hall, and you're the daughter of my boss. It's amazing and fateful. Besides, I don't look down on you, nor do I think you're a little gangster. You're overthinking this. Also, I think your mother is a little strong, but there's nothing wrong with that. You also said that you come from a single-parent family. If your mother wasn't strong, how could she support your family? How could she bring you a rich life? So, you should also be appropriately considerate of your mother. Chen Feng's words made sense, but Qin Shero, the wild girl, didn't listen at all and said directly, if you think she is good, then you might as well pursue her. Now that you are both single, I don't object to you being my stepfather. Chen Feng almost choked on his mouthful of water, and quickly swallowed it. He exhaled, feeling a bit amused and helpless. Aren't you trying to trick your mother? How could I possibly be worthy of such an excellent woman like your mother? Qin Shero said disapprovingly, she is only excellent in her career. She is not excellent in being a person, family, or life. The reason why my father divorced her was because she was too strong and aggressive. My father was very frustrated, and then he couldn't help but cheated. Chen Feng was speechless after hearing about her family's privacy. He forced himself to change the subject and said, okay, don't tell me about your family. Let's talk about whether you want to go abroad in the future. Chapter 23, A Little Reluctance. Whether I go abroad or not is not my family's business. What are you talking about? The wild girl still habitually argues. Chen Feng is now very tolerant of her, because he thinks that today's meal and today's meeting may very well be the last time for the two of them, so he doesn't care much about his dissatisfaction with her. Therefore, Chen Feng was not angry at all, and continued to ask with concern, do you want to go abroad? This time Qin Shero didn't talk back. She showed a distressed look on her face and said, I don't know either. Seeing this, Chen Feng helped analyze it and said, then you can use the comparison method to compare. You can list the pros and cons of going abroad and staying in China. Which option is best for you? You can weigh the two and choose the one that is most beneficial to you. Qin Shiro nodded and said, this is indeed a solution. But the main problem now is my mother. She is also very conflicted. She wants me to go abroad to receive a better education, but she also wants to keep me by her side, under her nose, and she can see me often. Chen Feng asked, your mother can't go abroad with you, right? Qin Shiro nodded again, yes, otherwise there would be no need to worry so much. She has several companies here and her own career. Also, my grandmother is in poor health, and she has to take care of her from time to time. What about your dad? What is he doing abroad? Chen Feng asked curiously. Qin Shiro rolled her eyes at him and said unhappily, just now I told you not to talk about my family's affairs. Chen Feng was thick-skinned and said with a smile, I'm just asking casually. It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. Just tell me, there's nothing to hide about these things. I treat you as a friend, so it's okay for you to know. Qin Shiro said indifferently, my dad now lives in California. He is a biologist who does genetic research. He married a foreign woman who is several years older than him and is his colleague. They don't have any children yet. Biologist. Such an awesome father directly shocked Chen Feng. There is no comparison, no comparison. Oh, so that's how it is. Your dad must miss you a lot. So, he has been urging you to study abroad, right? Chen Feng asked in a very natural tone. They didn't study abroad. They settled there and became naturalized. My dad is now a citizen of the United States. Chen Feng admitted that he was upset. There was no comparison, no comparison. He hasn't even obtained a household registration in Suzhou City, let alone the citizenship of the United States. Will your mother agree? Chen Feng asked. Why don't you agree to this? Qin Shiro gave Chen Feng a strange look. My mother herself has a green card from the United States. Chen Feng was speechless. They were indeed two different classes. Suddenly, he felt like he was at the bottom. Oh, then there's no need for you to hesitate. Just go. Anyway, you're going to become a foreigner sooner or later. But I've lived here for more than a decade, so I'm used to it. And my foreign language skills aren't very good either. Since you have concerns, then you don't have to go for now. It won't be too late to go after you finish high school. In the meantime, you should work hard to learn a foreign language in the next few years. Qin Shiro nodded thoughtfully, maybe this is the only way. At this time, the ordered dishes were finally served, and Chen Feng immediately asked her to start eating. The two of them stopped talking and started eating, fighting over the food. Every dish here was so delicious that the two of them were so engrossed in eating that they had no appetite to talk. After about half an hour, the two of them had actually finished more than a dozen dishes together, and Qin Shiro ate a small half of them. I didn't realize this girl can eat so much. Chen Feng picked his teeth with a toothpick, while Qin Shiro leaned back in the chair in a very ungraceful manner, rubbing her stomach with her hand. You can go to your mother now. Otherwise she will worry. Chen Feng urged. No. I'm a little overfed. I need to take a break. Chen Feng threw the toothpick on the table, stood up and said, then I have to go. I have a plane to catch. What flight are you catching? Where are you going? Qin Shiro sat up straight and asked with her head raised. Go back to my hometown. I haven't been to see my parents for a long time. I want to go back and see them. Where are you from? Dear City. Oh, I know. There are 2 students in my class who are from Lu City. Well, I'll be leaving first then. Wait. Qin Shiro stood up and said reluctantly, let me see you off. No need. Go back to your mother. It's true. You're treating me to a meal, so can't I take you there? Qin Shiro was a little angry. Chen Feng thought that today's farewell might be forever, so he sighed and said, okay. Just send me to the door. The two walked towards the door together, and then the door of the box was pushed open again with great force. Have you finished eating too? Liu Maijun was standing at the door, and there were a few people behind her looking inside. Qin Shiro's face suddenly fell. Chen Feng nodded slightly, with a calm face, yeah, I just finished eating. Then let's go together. Liu Maijun moved away from the door, and Chen Feng and Qin Shiro walked out together. The people with her were all either rich or noble judging by their clothes and demeanor. Chen Feng just nodded at them politely and walked downstairs first. Qin Xiero hurried to catch up, and Liu Maijun also hurried to catch up when she saw this, and said to Chen Feng at the same time, "Chen Feng, I have already paid for your meal." Chen Feng couldn't help but stop when he heard this, and turned to look at her helplessly. It seemed that he had already eaten 2 big meals in a row. What else could Chen Feng say? He could only nod and thank her. "Thank you, Mr. Liu." Liu Maijun waved her hand and said, "Don't call me Mr. Liu. From now on, you can call me Sister Liu, or Sister Maijun." This was obviously for her daughter's sake. "Okay, thank you, Miss Maijun." Chen Feng readily followed suit and changed his address, which made Liu Maijun very happy. Only Qin Xiero was a little unhappy. "You call me sister, so am I a generation younger than you?" Chen Feng smiled and said, "Let's discuss our own issues." Qin Xiero didn't say anything after hearing this. They went downstairs quickly. Liu Maijun wanted to say a few words to some friends, while Chen Feng said goodbye to her and Qin Xiero directly. Qin Xiero chased after him, stopped him at the door of the restaurant, and asked, "When will you be back?" "It's hard to say. I've already resigned. It might take some time." "Really? It's so rare that I get to chat with you, but you want to go back to your hometown." Qin Xiero frowned angrily. Chen Feng couldn't help but reach out and touch her head. In her murderous eyes, he quickly retracted his hand and smiled awkwardly. "I couldn't help it. Don't mind, I treat you as my daughter. You really want to be my stepfather?" Qin Xiero glared. Chen Feng was speechless and quickly explained, "I was just making an analogy. I know you lack friends. In fact, you can try to make some friends of the same age. My peers are too immature, some are even mentally retarded. How can I make friends with them?" Qin Xiero said sullenly, "I'll wait for you to come back. Then you must accompany me to the game hall again and have a good night." Chen Feng sighed inwardly and nodded, "Okay. I'll find you when I get back." "Well, keep your word. If you don't keep your word, you're a bastard." Qin Xiero suddenly became happy, but what she said was still unpleasant to the ear. Chen Feng resisted the urge to rub her head again and nodded again, "Of course. I mean what I say. Let me put it this way, I have a plane to catch." Chen Feng turned around and left, feeling a little reluctant in his heart. Alas, after today's separation, we are destined to never meet again in this life. Chapter 20 for Family Reunion. Lu City, Lin'an County, Qingpu Town. This is a small town with a total population of just over 20,000 people. Chen Feng's hometown is here. His ancestors were farmers, and there are 2 brothers in this generation. The eldest brother Chen Rui started working after graduating from junior high school. He was an apprentice chef, drove a taxi, and ran a business. Later, he got married and had children. He became a truck driver and had his own small truck to help transport goods for others. My eldest sister-in-law Li Guihong is my eldest brother's junior high school classmate. She works in a small factory in the town and is also diligent. The 2 of them didn't make a lot of money, but it was enough to support their small family. Chen Feng's parents opened a small store in their home and helped take care of their eldest son's children. Chen Rui gave birth to 2 children in succession, both daughters. Fortunately, the idea of favoring boys over girls is not so serious nowadays, and the whole family loves these 2 little babies very much. The same goes for Chen Feng. Most of the gifts he bought this time were for his 2 little nieces. When I got home, it was almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The 2 little ones had already returned home from kindergarten. The older one was 6 years old and his name was Xiaoyu, and the younger one was 4 years old and his name was Xiaoxue. When Chen Feng got out of the taxi, he saw them standing at the entrance of the convenience store playing. A little rain, a little snow. Chen Feng shouted to them. As a result, the 2 little guys looked at him in surprise and didn't recognize him. This is understandable. The last time we met was on National Day a year ago, and I only saw him a few times when I video called my parents later. So it is normal that I didn't remember him as my uncle. I'm your second uncle, have you forgotten? After Chen Feng said this, the 2 little ones finally responded, especially the older one Xiaoyu, who seemed to finally remember. She quickly ran up with a warm smile and called him second uncle, which immediately made Chen Feng very happy and he couldn't help but hug her. Xiaoxue was a little younger, so she just stood there stupidly and didn't come up to say hello. Of course Chen Feng didn't mind, he took the initiative to step forward and picked up Xiaoxue, one on each side. Second uncle has brought you a lot of gifts this time. Just call me second uncle and I will give them to you. Chen Feng said as he looked at Xiaoxue, who was obviously a little introverted. Xiaoyu immediately shouted, second uncle, happily. Xiaoxue took a look at the big package behind Chen Feng and finally called, second uncle, sweetly. Chen Feng happily responded with, hey, then put them down, went over to pick up the big package, and said, okay, let's go in and give you the gifts. The two little nieces immediately followed Chen Feng with smiles on their faces. There is no one in the convenience store now, and business is still average. There are 4 convenience stores on this street, which is less than 200 meters long in their town. Mom, I'm back. Chen Feng shouted towards the back room on the first floor. The 3-story house on his street had a shop in the front room facing the street and a kitchen and restaurant in the back. Chen Feng heard the sound of cooking over there. Sure enough, my mother Zhao Xiaolan's voice came from behind, got it, wait a minute. The food will be ready soon. Call your brother and ask him to come back for dinner after he finishes his delivery. Okay. Chen Feng agreed and called his brother. My brother is on his way back. After finishing the call, the 2 little ones in front of him were looking at him eagerly, so Chen Feng hurriedly opened the big package and distributed gifts to them. Barbie dolls, bubble cameras, little teddy bears, magic kaleidoscopes, electronic magic wands, etc., all in duplicate. The 2 little guys were so happy that they smiled and cheered. Why do you buy so many things for them? Elaine Chao came over and complained for a while, but seeing that her 2 granddaughters were happy, she didn't say anything more. Not long after, sister-in-law Li Guihong also came over. Chen Feng also brought her a gift, a set of cosmetics, and couldn't help but be polite. Then the eldest brother Chen Rui came back with his father Chen Dayong. His father sometimes worked as a porter on the truck and could make money. Although Chen Feng's divorce was a bit upsetting, the family was finally reunited. Chen Rui pulled Chen Feng along, and the 2 brothers drank a lot of wine together. In the end, both brothers were a little drunk, and Chen Feng didn't know how to get back to the room. When he woke up, it was already the next morning. His original room, located at the back of the 2nd floor, had been arranged like this since he was in middle school, when his family had just moved in. I went to the toilet, washed up, and went downstairs to eat. It was already past 9 in the morning and everyone else in the family had already gotten up. There's hot sticky rice in the kitchen. Zhao Xiaolan, who was busy in the convenience store, called out to Chen Feng. Got it. Chen Feng responded reflexively. Similar scenes have happened countless times. He used to be used to it and didn't think much of it. But now that he doesn't have much time left, he was suddenly very moved and felt a little sad. This is just a daily conversation that countless families have, and many people often ignore it, or even fail to cherish and be grateful. He used to be similar. It was not until now, when he was about to die, that he suddenly realized that he had not yet repaid his parents for their kindness in raising him, and realized the silent sacrifices his parents had made for him. After eating the glutinous rice fried by my mother, which was added with dried shrimp, chopped dried tofu, minced meat, mixed with chopped green onions, and served with a bowl of seaweed and egg soup, it was the most delicious breakfast. This kind of breakfast and taste can only be tasted at home, not outside. After eating almost 2 bowls of glutinous rice, Chen Feng suddenly burst into tears. After wiping the tears from the corners of his eyes with a tissue, Chen Feng picked up his phone and called his elder brother Chen Rui, asking him to come back for lunch as he had something to discuss. Chen Rui agreed readily. Chen Feng came to the store to help with the inventory. During this time, he met a few familiar neighbors and they exchanged pleasantries. It was soon noon. Chen Rui and Chen Dayong came back together, and his sister-in-law Li Guihong also came home from get-off work at the factory. The 2 little nieces were in kindergarten. Everyone finished their meal first, and then the father and his 2 sons drank beer. Chen Feng then said, "Brother, haven't you always wanted to open a car beauty shop? I plan to open one with you. I'll pay and you'll do the work, and we'll split the shares 40% and 60%. Everyone was stunned when Chen Feng said this. Elaine Chao first asked, "Where did you get the money?" Chen Feng had no choice but to say, "I won 500,000 yuan in the lottery last time. I'm going to leave the money there anyway, so I might as well invest it. Is it true? Chen Daong, who usually doesn't talk much, couldn't help but widen his eyes. He is a veteran lottery player and has bought lottery tickets for more than 10 years, including sports lottery and welfare lottery, but so far he has only won the biggest prize of 20 yuan. Really? Chen Feng said calmly, I plan to spend 300,000 to open a store. Do you think it's enough? Chen Rui said immediately, that's definitely enough. Open a store on the national highway. The rent here is not expensive. It mainly costs decoration, equipment and materials. At most 200,000 is enough. But if you choose to join a chain store, you will have to pay some franchise fees. Do you think it's better to join a franchise or go it alone? After thinking for a while, Chen Rui said, each has its own advantages and disadvantages. If you combine them together, it is definitely better to join some big brands. After all, they are more formal. Then join us. Pick a good brand with a good reputation. It doesn't matter even if you spend all the 500,000. Zhao Xiaolan frowned and said, Xiao Feng, although you won this money from the lottery, you can't spend it carelessly. Chen Feng smiled and said, don't worry, Mom. This car beauty shop will definitely make money if it is opened on the national highway. There are so many vehicles passing by the national highway every day. Besides, there is no real car beauty shop in our town. There is only an informal private car wash shop. The business is very good every day. Chen Rui added, now there are two, neither of them is formal, but both are doing good business. That's it. Anyway, it's definitely worthwhile to open this store. Okay. You two brothers can discuss it yourselves. However, brothers should settle accounts clearly. When the time comes, you have to sign the contract. You can't get embarrassed over money and then you can no longer be brothers. Zhao Xiaolan said with a sullen face. How is this possible? How is this possible? The two brothers refuted together, showing a tacit understanding. Chen Feng smiled and said, you see, we two brothers won't have conflicts over money, don't worry. Then Chen Rui began to discuss with Chen Feng and finalized some details. Chapter 25 Familiar Minicar. In the afternoon, Chen Rui did not go to transport goods. Instead, he took Chen Feng to look for a suitable store. In the end, they directly set their eyes on a dilapidated, low house near the national highway, which was abandoned. After asking around, I found out the owner of the house. He was related to me, so it was easy to negotiate with him. After some bargaining, I bought the house and almost an acre of land for 120,000 yuan. The price paid is mainly for the land. The house is decades old and is not worth much. Of course, in rural areas, such transactions are private and not officially recognized. The reason why I bought it instead of renting it is because the location is very good, but I have to demolish the original low house and rebuild it, and also renovate it. If everything is done, what if the landlord raises the rent or doesn't rent it to you next year? It's better to buy it directly. Over the next few days, the two brothers worked together and found a construction team to start work. They first demolished the old house and built a simple row of 5 bungalows, 2 of which were shops and 3 were operation rooms for parking, car washing and beauty. In addition, of course, the ground in front of the store must be paved with hardened cement to facilitate vehicle entry and exit and parking. At the same time, you need to register a store, go through the formalities, and choose a franchise brand. The two brothers worked hard for more than half a month and finally opened the car beauty shop. In total, they spent nearly 470,000 yuan. Chen Feng took out 400,000 yuan, and Chen Rui took out 70,000 yuan. Chen Feng owned 70% of the store, and Chen Rui owned 30%. Originally, Chen Feng wanted to take 60%, but Chen Rui refused to do so, so he had to give up. However, Chen Feng still gave his brother, the store manager, an additional monthly salary of 8,000 yuan. It was originally 10,000 yuan, but they failed to reach an agreement and could only get 8,000 yuan. The two brothers even found a middleman, got the contract done, and signed and put their fingerprints on it. On the opening day, business was booming because of the attraction of several large open-air billboards along the national highway. Most of them are car washes. Because they are franchise stores of big brands, they have trained employees sent by the head office. They wear uniforms and provide warm service, which makes them look very high-end, and the prices are not expensive. It is much better than the other two private open-air car washes. Business was very good for several days in a row, and their whole family was smiling. That afternoon, seeing that the car beauty shop was on track, Chen Feng decided not to stay and look after the shop. He had just come out of the store riding his father's electric scooter when he saw a mini car approaching in front of him. It suddenly honked the horn a few times, stopped, and then a head popped out of the window. She was a beautiful woman with long flowing hair. She waved at Chen Feng with a bright smile. When Chen Feng saw it, he was a little dazed for a moment, but he still stopped the car immediately. "Brother Chen, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here." Wu Mengting opened the car door and got out, smiling and greeting Chen Feng. Chen Feng finally woke up from his dream, and quickly parked his electric donkey and said with a smile, "Yes, what a coincidence. How did you get here?" Chen Feng was already numb to similar coincidences, but he didn't expect to meet the beautiful editor Wu Mengting this time. Wu Mengting smiled and said, "A good high school classmate of mine is marrying your Lin Nan. Tomorrow is the wedding day. I came here today to be her bridesmaid. I passed by here and saw the billboard, so I wanted to come over and wash my car." Chen Feng suddenly realized and nodded, "Okay. I'll take you to the car wash. This shop is owned by my family. It's only been a few days. I'll give you a free meal today." Chen Feng said this and got on the e-donkey again. How can this be so embarrassing?" Wu Mengting said somewhat embarrassedly. "It's just a matter of 20 or 30. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's rare for me to meet you here again. This is fate." Wu Mengting blushed, but finally nodded and said, "Thank you then." Chen Feng waved his hand, turned the e-scooter around and rode back to the store. "Xiao Feng, why are you back again? Did you leave something behind?" Chen Rui happened to be standing at the door of the store and saw Chen Feng coming back, so he asked curiously. "No, I met a friend. She happened to come to wash her car, so I brought it here and gave it to her for free." "Oh, my friend. Okay." Chen Rui had just agreed when he saw Wu Mengting in the mini car from the car window. He was stunned for a moment and leaned closer to ask in a low voice, "She's pretty. Is she really your friend?" Chen Feng explained briefly, "Shuzhou knows her. She is from the urban area of Arlu City. This time she came to Linnan to attend a classmate's wedding." Chen Rui nodded, not quite believing it. After Wu Mengting parked the car, she got out and walked towards Chen Feng. "Brother Chen, I'm sorry to bother you again." Wu Mengting was still very polite. "Hello, beautiful lady. I am Chen Feng's brother, Chen Rui. He owns this shop. What's your name?" "Hello, my name is Wu Mengting." Wu Mengting said her name generously, and then looked at Chen Feng in surprise. "Why did you return to your hometown to open a car wash? You don't plan to go back to Shuzhou?" Chen Feng glanced at his smiling elder brother and explained, "This store is a joint venture between the two of us. My brother is usually in charge of the management, and I only pay for it. I may go back to Shuzhou after a while." Wu Mengting nodded and said nothing more. Chen Rui smiled and said, "Why don't you go in and talk? The office is empty." Wu Mengting quickly shook her head. "No, my classmates are still waiting. I will go over and meet them after I wash the car." "Okay then. You guys chat." Chen Rui gave Chen Feng an encouraging look and left. Chen Feng was a little amused when he saw this. "He didn't even know how old I was, your brother." How old was Wu Mengting? "You two brothers don't look alike at all." Wu Mengting took the initiative to tease. Chen Feng smiled and nodded, "Yes, everyone says so. He has a round face, so he looks like my mother, and he has a square face, so he looks like my father. That explains it. Where is your classmate originally from? Is he from the city, too?" "No, it's Feiyan City, which is very close to your Lin'an County. The two of them are in a free love relationship and met by chance during a trip. It's really romantic to say the least." The two stood and chatted for more than 10 minutes, and the car was finally washed. "Then I'll go first. Thank you very much this time, and last time. When you return to Shuzhou, I'll treat you to a meal." Standing next to the mini car, Wu Mengting said goodbye to Chen Feng. Chen Feng nodded perfunctorily, "Okay, I'll contact you when I return to Shuzhou." That being said, Chen Feng would definitely not contact her. And she didn't seem to have contacted him after they parted last time. Wu Mengting got into the car, rolled down the window, waved to Chen Feng, and drove away. Xiao Feng, this girl is pretty good. She probably doesn't have a boyfriend yet, right? We need to act quickly. Chen Rui came out from nowhere, and the eunuchs were urging Chen Feng anxiously even though the emperor was not. Don't you see that there is several years difference between us? Chen Feng asked back unhappily. I guess the age difference is only 5 or 6. Even if it's 6 or 7, it's not a big deal. I have a friend, also named Afen, Feng in Mountain Peak. After his divorce, he found a wife who was 8 years younger than him. She just gave birth to twins last year. Okay. Stop worrying about it. I'm leaving. Chen Feng rode on his electric scooter and left quickly. As a result, as soon as I rode onto the cement road next to the national highway, I saw a mini car parked on the highway. Chapter 26 Taking the initiative to make an appointment. Chen Feng saw Wu Mengting coming out of the car, took a warning sign from the trunk, and ran to put it away about 10 meters behind the car. Then he stood on the side of the road, took out his mobile phone and hurriedly called. But it seemed that the call did not go through. Chen Feng thought about it and rode over to the roadside. He watched her finish her call through the guardrail and shouted at her, "You broke down again." Wu Mengting saw Chen Feng at this moment, and her face lit up with joy. Then she nodded helplessly and said, "Yes." It suddenly stalled again. I was so angry. It was fixed not long ago. I drove all the way from Suzhou and nothing happened, but it broke down again here. I don't want this car anymore. Did you just call for help? No, I called the insurance company, but it didn't go through. How about I take a look for you first? I've heard people say that if a car like yours shuts down automatically, it's probably because the wires are loose. Really? Then come and have a look. I'm in a hurry to meet up with my classmates. Chen Feng went over and opened the hood to check. His ex-wife Shenlin also had such a car a few years ago and had almost the same problem. At that time, Chen Feng searched for the cores online. There were many cases of this phenomenon. Some said it was a loose battery cable, some said it was a software problem, and some said it was a relay problem. Chen Feng reconnected the battery cable and it was fine. Now it was Wu Mengting's turn. Chen Feng gave it a try. He didn't use any tools and just rewired a few wires. Then, let Wu Mengting start it. It actually started successfully. Such luck. Thank you. Thank you. You helped me a lot, and twice. Brother Chen, I found you to be my big savior. Wu Mengting came out of the car again happily and gratefully and thanked Chen Feng. Chen Fengshan said, "It seems that I was unlucky to meet you twice. If I hadn't met you, maybe the car wouldn't have broken down. What a coincidence. I didn't expect this to be the problem. Yes, it's really a coincidence, very lucky. Otherwise, I would have to break my appointment with my classmate today, and she is waiting for me to try on the dress. Well, go now. Don't keep your classmates waiting. Well, I'll be leaving now. Next time I go back to Suzhou, I'll definitely treat you to a meal." Perhaps she was really in a hurry. Wu Mengting trotted over, picked up the warning sign, put it in the trunk, and drove away immediately. Chen Feng watched her car drive away, then rode his electric scooter back home. He thought he would never have any contact with Wu Mengting again, but 2 days later, Wu Mengting took the initiative to call him. Although Chen Feng was a little surprised, he answered the call immediately. "Brother Chen, are you still in your hometown?" Wu Mengting's voice sounded somewhat cheerful. "Yes, what's the matter?" Chen Feng's tone was very calm. "It's like this. I want to collect folk songs in your Lin and County. If you are free, I would like to ask you to accompany me for a day or two and be my guide. I can pay you 300 a day. How about it?" Chen Feng didn't expect her to make such a request and was stunned for a while. "How is it? Brother Chen, is it inconvenient?" "If it's inconvenient, forget it." No, it's not inconvenient. I have nothing to do at home, so I can be your guide. By the way, I want to go out for a walk, too." "That's great. I'll come to you right now, right at your family's car detailing shop, how about that?" "Okay, no problem." After the two of them had talked it over, Chen Feng packed up his things briefly and went out on his electric scooter. Chen Feng arrived first, and after waiting for more than 10 minutes, the familiar mini car drove over. Chen Rui also saw it and encouraged with a smile. She took the initiative to ask you out. You have to seize the opportunity. Be thick-skinned. Chen Feng smiled bitterly and walked forward and waved towards Minnie. Come in the car. How about taking me around your place first? No problem. Chen Feng sat in the passenger seat and the car started quickly. Under Chen Feng's guidance, the car first drove to an ancient site in the Qingpu town, the Taiyin Palace, which has a history of nearly 200 years. It is a Taoist temple with local characteristics, covering a large area and even having a stage inside. Historically, the temple fairs were held around the Taiyin Palace, which was very lively. It was held every year on the 28th day of the first lunar month, attracting people from several nearby towns and villages. When Chen Feng was a child, he looked forward to this temple fair every year, and it occupied a deep memory in his childhood. There are many Taoist murals in Taiyin Palace, which Wu Mengting enjoys very much. She takes out her camera from time to time to take pictures. Chen Feng was also filled with emotion when he met his old friend again. This Taiyin Palace has undergone several renovations and looks brighter and more colorful, but the intimacy and familiarity of my childhood are no longer there. Since Chen Feng started high school, the temple fair on the 28th day of the first lunar month has become less and less popular each year and has lost its original appeal. However, there is one place here that has not changed much, which gives Chen Feng a very familiar and friendly feeling. That is a large open-air well in the middle, with a circular mouth and a diameter of more than 3 meters, in which a group of red-field fish are kept. People often throw food into it. This time, although there was an extra high guardrail at the wellhead, there was still a group of red carps in the well. When they saw someone at the wellhead, many of the fish floated to the surface. This surprised Wu Mengting and Chen Feng, and they stood around watching for a long time. The two of them stayed in Taiyin Palace for about 2 hours before leaving. It was almost noon, so Chen Feng took the initiative to treat her to a meal. Wu Mengting did not refuse, but accepted it with a smile and calmly. The two are now considered friends. As their host, Chen Feng should have taken her home for dinner, but in order to avoid misunderstandings from his family and possible embarrassment for Wu Mengting, he chose to eat on the street. After finding a local restaurant, Chen Feng ordered several local specialty dishes, including field fish. Field fish are very similar to koi, and can even be raised like koi, but field fish are mainly for food, while koi are for ornamental purposes. Wu Mengting had never eaten field fish before. At first, she couldn't bear to eat it and didn't dare to pick up her chopsticks. After Chen Feng persuaded her several times, she took a bite and then liked it. It tasted really good. Wu Mengting was very satisfied with the meal. Then Chen Feng saw that she was a little tired, so he booked a room for her in a hotel in the town to rest, and then continued to take her out for a walk after she had rested well. Wu Mengting did not refuse and agreed with a smile. When Chen Feng returned home, he was caught by his mother who was watching the store. There happened to be no one in the store, so she asked anxiously, "Your brother said a girl took the initiative to play with you. How is it going?" Chen Feng had no choice but to explain, "She's just an ordinary friend. She's a magazine editor. She happened to come here to collect materials and take pictures. She asked me to be her guide. That's all." Zhao Xiaolan obviously didn't believe it, and glared at me and said, "I don't care if you are just an ordinary friend or not. Since you are divorced and single now, find someone reliable as soon as possible. Give me a child as soon as possible." "Okay, I got it." Chen Feng responded perfunctorily with some helplessness and quickly ran upstairs. Chapter 27. Don't get me wrong. Chen Feng is almost dying now, so of course he has no thoughts about Wu Mengting, the beautiful editor. The reason why I agreed to be her guide was simply because we knew each other and could be considered friends. Besides, he was a little bored staying at home alone and wanted to go out for some fresh air. Going out for some fresh air alone is certainly not as comfortable and pleasant as having a beautiful woman as your companion. It's that simple. But obviously my brother and mom don't think so. As for Wu Mengting's words, Chen Feng also believed that she would not be interested in a middle-aged uncle like him, and asked him to be a guide just by chance and happened to know Chen Feng, a local. I set the alarm and took a half-hour nap at home. Then I got up, washed my face, and checked out some fun places in Lin County on my phone. Although Chen Feng is a native of Lin County, he is only familiar with the county seat, his hometown Qingpu town, and 2 or 3 surrounding towns. He has never been to the other towns in the county in his life. The farthest township from their Qingpu town takes more than half an hour to drive on the highway. When Chen Feng had almost finished his investigation, he received a call from Wu Mengting. After meeting at the hotel, the two got into the car together. Wu Mengting asked with great interest, "Where are we going to play next?" Chen Feng asked back, "How many days do you have to travel?" Wu Mengting replied, 2 days. "I have to go back the day after tomorrow at the latest." Chen Feng then said, "Then I can only take you to a few classic attractions, after all, time is limited." "Okay, you arrange it." Wu Mengting seems to trust Chen Feng very much. Then Chen Feng took her to the beach, which was relatively close to here according to the guide he had found on the internet. Although the weather is a bit cold in the golden autumn, the weather is sunny and the autumn heat is still quite strong. Therefore, even if the sea breeze blows at the beach, it doesn't feel that cold. Chen Feng took her to ride bicycles on the beach, take photos, and build sandcastles, and they both had a great time. At night, Chen Feng found a seafood restaurant to treat her to seafood. This time, Wu Mengting still did not refuse Chen Feng's payment. Chen Feng is rich now, so of course he doesn't care about these few $100s. Although he was her tour guide, Chen Feng actually knew that she was the one accompanying him to have a good time before he died. At least that's what Chen Feng thinks. The next day, Chen Feng took her to another town with mountains and scenic spots. It was a bit far from Qingpu town, more than 20 kilometers away. The two of them had a lot of fun climbing mountains and watching waterfalls. They came down from the mountain at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and drove back to Qingpu. Passing by the county town, Chen Feng went to the game hall at her suggestion and had fun for more than an hour. During this period, Chen Feng's lucky buff seemed to still be there. When catching dolls, he could basically catch one with 2 game coins. Chen Feng caught 3 for her in one breath, and Wu Mengting was so surprised that she clapped and cheered. Finally, seeing that more and more people were watching, the two decided to quit and left. Then when they returned to Qingpu, Chen Feng drove and Wu Mengting sat in the passenger seat, holding the 3 dolls with a smile on her face and refused to let go. "I had a really good time today. I haven't been this happy in a long time. Thank you, Brother Feng." Wu Mengting looked sideways at Chen Feng, who was driving, with a smile on her lips. "Me too." Chen Feng smiled and responded. Then, the two of them suddenly fell silent, and the atmosphere became a little unnatural. When the car arrived at Qingpu town, Chen Feng suddenly said, "Why don't we say goodbye here? We'll see each other again when we get a chance in Suzhou." Qingpu town is located between the county seat and the urban area, and the national highway here is just right for going to the urban area. Wu Mengting was stunned for a moment, then said in a faint voice, "I am very tired from climbing the mountain today. I don't want to drive." "Okay then. Then I'll take you to a hotel in town to rest for one night, and you can leave by yourself tomorrow. I won't see you off," Chen Feng said casually. Wu Mengting was silent for a while, then suddenly said, "I want to go to your house for dinner, is that okay?" Chen Feng was suddenly speechless. Before, he thought he had some misunderstanding or illusion, because when he was climbing the mountain today, he accidentally noticed several times that there was something wrong with the way she looked at him, obviously the look of love. As a person who has been through it all, Chen Feng had had several relationships before and was no stranger to this kind of look from women. When they got to the game hall, after Chen Feng took out the doll for her several times, the way she looked at him became even more strange, with admiration but more of a different look. Chen Feng told himself that it might be an illusion, but he subconsciously began to distance himself from her. "So, I just said these words which sounded a bit inhumane." As a result, Wu Mengting directly proposed to go to his house, which almost made it a foregone conclusion, she was interested in him. Chen Feng couldn't help but sigh inwardly. If he wasn't about to die, only a fool would push Wu Mengting away when he met her. But how could he possibly develop further relations with her now? Wouldn't that be harming her? The more a girl is interested in you and the more she loves you, the more you should not harm her. Your request is so unexpected, and my family hasn't prepared anything. How about next time? Chen Feng said this in an obviously perfunctory manner. Wu Mengting was not discouraged and asked, "When is the next time? When is your Chinese New Year?" Chen Feng suddenly felt a headache and said with a wry smile, "If I take you home, my family will definitely misunderstand our relationship. My mother is urging me to find another one every day." Wu Mengting said indifferently, it's just a misunderstanding. Chen Feng couldn't continue when he heard this. It was his fault for not thinking about it before. Yesterday, Wu Mengting asked him if he was married, and he said that he had just divorced. I thought a woman like her would never be interested in a divorced man, especially since there was a several-year age difference between them. But now it seems that this is not the case at all. Chen Feng didn't want to continue to have anything to do with her, so he wanted to cut the Gordian knot. So Chen Feng said jokingly, "I'm wondering if you're attracted to an old man like me. I just got divorced." Wu Mengting's delicate face immediately turned red, and she stammered, "Of course. No, don't get me wrong, I just think you're pretty good, of course we're just friends." Chen Feng was speechless when he saw her stuttering. I wondered, what on earth could a middle-aged, greasy guy like me like to be so attracted to a young girl like her? This didn't make any sense. Does she have an Oedipus complex? Okay, I get it. I certainly won't misunderstand you. Let's put it this way. This time is too hasty. Wait until the end of the year, when you are back from vacation, and come to my place again. Then I will take you home for dinner. Now we can only use the strategy of procrastination, since he should be dead by then anyway. Once he dies, everything ends. Well, okay then. After feeling awkward for a while, Wu Mengting finally agreed.